That might have helped. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hubbard. Here. Commissioner Bradshaw.
Present.
Commissioner Helms. Commissioner Barlow. Commissioner Morse. Chairperson Hassett.
Present.
Vice Chair Gillette. Commissioner Patillo.
Here.
Commissioner Martin. Commissioner Ruge.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Automated announcements.
Anyone who has not signed in, please do so at the table located in the lobby. Should anyone wish to speak, please complete a request to speak form, which is also located on the lobby table next to the sign-in sheet. A request to speak form must be completed for each item you would like to speak on. Please note, there are stairs on the right, left, and center aisles, and we ask that you use caution when using the stairs. There is also a ramp located to the audience's left. If anyone has written comments, exhibits, petitions, photos, or letters they intend to present at today's meeting, have 17 copies and give them to a staff member at the back of the auditorium. Staff member, please hold up your hand for the audience. If you do not have 17 copies, you may use the overhead camera to present your documents. Please place your documents on the podium and line it up with the arrows indicated. If you want your documentation to go on record, you must hand them to the clerk after your presentation with the agenda item number clearly marked on the documentation. Members of the public cannot speak to staff members that are seated at the tables with microphones during the meeting. If you have questions, please see the staff member located in the back of the auditorium. All speakers will be limited to 2 minutes to make their presentation statements. Everyone, please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate during the meeting. If you must take a call, please leave the meeting area and go outside to have your conversation. We also ask the audience to refrain from talking with one another during the presentations and discussions. Today, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. Everyone attending the meeting is asked to remember that the administrative building and campus are tobacco-free areas, which means no smoking is allowed from curb to curb. No food or drinks are allowed in the auditorium except for bottled water. If there are any items remaining on the agenda, the Commission will break for lunch for 1 hour per the Chairman's discretion.
As stated in the announcement, today's Planning and Zoning Commission will hear public testimony and then forward a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors. The items with a recommendation made to the Commission will be heard by the Board of Supervisors Monday, July 1st, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. in this same location, with the exception of any continued item. Item number 1 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for, I don't need to announce that. You can do that. Go for it. Sorry.
Item number 1 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 120-07097 to allow for a water tank and water treatment site in the Havasu Heights vicinity. This item is for the water utility for the proposed subdivision that the Commission heard the preliminary plat for last month. And part of that discussion included discussion about a water study that the applicants had done. And that study is included in the backup for this item. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Okay, open the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak this time?
Morning, Britt Wolf, project manager for DL Rant. I think Matthew covered it pretty well. This just establishes the location of our drinking water infrastructure for DL Rant. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the applicant? Nope. Thank you. I don't have anyone signed up. Is there anyone that'd like to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Does any commissioner have a motion?
Make a motion with standard.
Second. Wait, Gillette, second. Who was it? Hubbard? Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Was that an aye or a nay?
Aye.
All right. Okay, motion passes. Item number 2.
Item 2 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a suburban residential area land use designation to a general commercial land use designation and a rezone of assessor's parcel number 227-16064 from an AR agricultural residential zone to a CMO commercial manufacturing open lot storage zone to allow for the storage of sand, gravel, and P-rock in the Fort Mojave vicinity. Staff has received 4 letters of opposition. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present? You wish to speak this time? Okay. No one else wanting to speak at this time, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Call for a motion.
Actually, is the applicant here? I'd like to have a couple of questions.
I'm sorry, sir. Are you the applicant? No, I don't believe the applicant's present.
Well, then I'd like to move that we deny this.
Would you like to postpone until the next meeting and urge the applicant? Or?
Possibly. Yeah, some of my questions are, I don't really have a problem with the zone. I have a problem with it being an open lot storage for sand and gravel next to a pediatric clinic, a hospital, and various other clinics in the direct vicinity. Well, that's really my concern, is why this location for an open lot storage for sand and gravel.
Can I make a motion? Can I make a motion to deny?
Okay, so there's a motion to deny.
I would second that motion.
Second. All in favor of a denial?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll go aye.
Okay, 4. All right, 5. Okay. Motion denied. Item 3.
I make a motion that we continue.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. And Gillette, second Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any opposed?
On our agenda, 3 is.
You just needed a motion.
Oh, okay.
3 is struck out. We just need to continue to
Okay.
July. Okay. Item 4.
Item 4 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 229-14169 to allow for a billboard in a C2H highway commercial zone in the Fort Mojave vicinity. So Section 42J of the Mojave County zoning ordinance states that a minimum of 500 feet between off-premises signs facing the same traffic flow in the same street or freeway shall be required in all cases. The closest billboard to the site is located approximately 933 feet to the south. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Okay. The applicant, or opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? You wish to speak at this time?
My name is Brad Sourbeer. I'm located at 406 Desert Canyon Boulevard, Orondo, Washington. I own Parker Outdoor. I was going to do a video presentation, but I don't know how it got set up. There we go. Yeah, I want to do the West one. Okay, here. Yeah, the video. This is a project I did down in Yucca last year, and I just wanted to show this as an example of what we're doing in the county. It allows advertisers to change their ad in a quick, not in a quick moment, but we can literally take the ad copy and upload it to the Billboard remotely via Wi-Fi, and so it's really nice for local businesses that are offering promotions or events that they want their clientele to attend. We're able to do this instead of having to send an installer out, make a vinyl banner, and so forth. We're also intending to do the same thing down in Fort Mojave, Bullhead area on Highway 95 for this project.
Okay. Do any commissioners have any questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to speak? There's no one signed up. Given the opportunity. If not, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I make a motion to approve item 4 is read, sorry.
Okay. Motion by Helms.
Second.
Second by Gillette. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
That one. All right. Well, motion carries. Thank you. I'm going to move item number 5 to the end of the agenda out of respect for the other individuals that are in this room and just have a couple of line items that need to be cleared. Does any commissioner have a concern with that? Nope. Okay.
No.
Item number 6.
Item number 6 is an evaluation of a request for a zoning map correction to amend the official Mojave County zoning maps for assessors parcel numbers 210, 23, 411 through 421, 423A, 426 through 428, 430A, and 431 through 436 from a C2H highway commercial zone to a C2 general commercial zone as shown on PZC Resolution 70-095 in the Golden Shores vicinity. The PZC Resolution 70-095 established the C2 zoning, followed by PZC Resolution 88-212 that amended the area plan to a commercial highway designation, but zoning maps were instead mistakenly updated to the C2H highway commercial. Staff recommends approval of the correction.
Okay. Opening the public hearing. Is the applicant present? Okay. No one else that wishes to speak on this item, so I'm going to close the public hearing. Ask for a motion.
I move that we approve item number 6 with staff recommendations.
Okay. Motion by Bradshaw. Second.
I'll second.
Second by Helms. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Item 7, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 7 is an evaluation of a request to rescind BOS Resolution 91-011 for assessor's parcel number 210-23425 and revert the property from a C2H 15M highway commercial 15,000 square foot minimum lot size zone to a C2 general commercial zone for not meeting the conditions of approval in the Golden Shores vicinity. I apologize, I'm behind on my map here. So when we were doing the zoning map correction that we just heard and doing research of the other properties, there were 2 properties that had been rezoned the correct way from C2 to C2H. One of them is this parcel just to the south, and then this parcel that we're rescinding. So in doing the research, we found this one that was zoned to C2H, but had the condition of being combined with that parcel to the south and then also being developed for the proposed storage facility that it was initially rezoned for. Since those conditions have not been met, staff recommends that Board of Supervisors Resolution 91-011 be rescinded.
Thank you. Opening the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this item? Seeing or hearing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing and ask for a motion.
I move that we approve item number 7, rescission of Resolution 91-011.
Okay. Motion by Bradshaw. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Item 8, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 8 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a rural development area land use designation to a suburban development area land use designation, and a rezone from an AR 36A, agricultural residential 36-acre minimum lot size zone, to an AR 2A, agricultural residential 2-acre minimum lot size zone, for assessor's parcel number 306-27046, to allow for a minor land division in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff recommends approval with standard conditions.
Opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time? Okay. Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant? Okay. There's no one else that wants to speak at this time. I'll close the public hearing. Ask for a motion.
Make a motion to approve item number 8.
Okay, motion by Gillette, second.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Aye. None. All right, motion carries. Item number 9, Alex Bolin.
Item number 9 is an evaluation of a request for an extension of time for a rezone for assessors parcel numbers 209-01097, 100, and 101 to allow for the completion of the conditions of BOS Resolution 2022-056, which approved an ES Solar Energy Overlay Zone to allow for a solar facility project in the Golden Valley vicinity. Staff recommends approval with a new expiration date of May 22nd, 2026.
You opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak at this time?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Good morning. My name is Andrew Yancey. I'm an attorney with Bergen, Craig, Smalley, and Oberholzer. We're at 4343 East Camelback Road in Phoenix. Pleased to be before you again representing Long Road. They're a national solar developer who owns and operates several projects in Arizona already. As staff said, we're here today respectfully requesting a time extension for a previously approved energy overlay. That was approved by the Board of Supervisors 2 years ago. It's for 640 acres, about 3 miles west of I-40 along the Griffith Industrial Corridor. At that time of the previous approval, that did go through the full staff analysis, the public notice, the public hearing process. So that was already complete. This entire site is private property. It's really got limited potential for traditional development because it's in a relatively remote location. And also there's some floodplain and gas pipeline constraints. The site is, however, very appropriate for this solar project because of its proximity to the existing utility infrastructure and the Griffith Energy facility in the area. Now, Long Road became the project developer just shortly after the approval in 2022, and they started working with Unisource, the utility, after that on the interconnection studies. Unfortunately, those interconnection studies can often take a couple of years, so that's the process we've been in. They go in a queue, and you just have to wait patiently for your turn to be evaluated. Fortunately, we've got good news from Unisource just last week, even after we filed this time extension request. They did provide the results of our interconnection study, and we are able to move forward. So that's a very big step in this process. That's why we're here today requesting the time extension, so we can complete the process with Unisource and the development process with the county. I want to thank staff for the recommendation of approval, their work with us on this project. I have a full slide presentation. If you'd like to hear it, Mr. Chairman, I'm also happy to skip the formal presentation and just answer any questions. Thank you.
I'm going to defer to the other commissioners if they'd like to see the presentation.
Does it have additional site plan information from the last time it came through?
Commissioner Bradshaw, no, there's no additional site plan information until we got the interconnection study results back from Unisource. There really wasn't much reason to start putting resources into that.
No. Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you. There's one other individual who'd like to speak, Martin Runge. I apologize for pronunciation.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Yes, you got the pronunciation correct.
Take it.
My name's Martin Runge. I live at 5122 West Ramon Drive in Golden Valley, about a quarter mile away from the proposed solar site. Just wanted to note that many valid concerns were presented at previous meetings last year around the solar facility proposed by Re-Energy, and that was denied by the Board of Supervisors. All those concerns that were brought up at those meetings and in writing are also valid for this solar facility. So this solar farm request is the largest proposed land clearing project, and that's in totality of the site, not just this parcel, but the other parcels that are involved. And clearing that much land will pretty much make the area unlivable for the residents in that area due to the dust, not to mention the waste of precious water resources in trying to mitigate that dust. And for perspective, the Griffith Power Station is about 20 times smaller than this proposed solar facility, just to give an idea of size we're talking about. So clearing that much land is probably the biggest project in Mojave County for clearing that much land in one shot for one project. There's two other issues with this parcel in question for the time extension. One is that it's surrounded on all four sides by small, roughly 2-acre parcels for about a mile in each direction. So there's about 250 parcels on each side, giving a total of about 1,000. Some have houses, some people are planning on building there. They don't want to be next to a solar farm.
Thank you, sir. Applicant? I'm assuming you're going to explain how you're going to abate and make sure that the dust doesn't bother them?
Chairman Hassett, yes, thank you. I'd like to just respond to a couple of those points, if I may. I appreciate everything that was said. And again, this is a project that was already approved 2 years ago. He mentioned some other projects in the area. Those were also approved 2 years ago, just a few months earlier. And that's why we're here for our extension request on this site a little bit after the other ones. And this is not Re-Energy. I think that's a developer he specifically mentioned. This is Long Road Development. I just wanted to clarify that. This area there are some 2-acre parcels around. There's a lot of floodplain that restricts part of the boundaries of our parcel, but also some of those adjacent parcels from development as well. There are very few structures actually within the area right now. The gentleman did mention water use as well. Solar is a very low water use. We look at less than an acre foot a year, which is about enough for 3 homes. The only use for it is there's an O&M building on site that has a bathroom and a sink, and so those require water. The solar panels may need to be washed once a year.
I think he's more in reference to how you're going to control the dust so his residence doesn't turn into a dust bowl. And I understand that we're here for a time extension, which I think we all get that part, and this has already been approved and only the Board of Supervisors can take it. But my question to you is there mitigation tactics in plan? And you might not be able to answer this, but I wouldn't want to wake up to that. So I believe there's penalties that are in place if there is dust, correct? In the event that a grading site or something is...
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we'll comply with any of the construction requirements that are in place. We do typically have dust mitigations. Again, Long Road's very experienced, both in Arizona and across the country. So this is something they've done. They've done it in other areas that may have homes around. And so they are used to working with that, employing dust control measures during the construction process.
The standard, if there's dust and you have a complaint of our grading, please call this number, et cetera, gets put up so that they can, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant? No? Oh, go right ahead.
Where is the electricity that is generated by this? Where is it going?
Commissioner Gillette, thank you for that question. So we are working with Unisource, and that's the utility that serves Mojave County. They have a competitive request for proposal process. That's how they select their generators. And what happens is you enter into a purchase agreement with them. They have at this time requested 350 megawatts of renewable generation. This would be about 75, so it certainly fit within that. So that's what we're looking at is Unisource, the utility that serves Mojave County.
Question for staff. Is this the only extension of time? Or is this the second time, or was it postponed?
Chairman Hassett, this is the first extension of time for this project. As he mentioned, so there was one applicant that came in a couple years ago, and they did one rezone, and then they did this rezone a few months later. So it was all done by the same person initially. Since then, it's been sold to different parties. I think there's two different entities that own chunks of that now. But this is the first extension of time for this rezone.
Okay. Well, if there's no other questions from the commissioners, I'll close the public hearing. Seeing none, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to make one clarification. The previous solar facility I referred to by Re-Energy was north of this project, north of Oatman Road. And secondly, I'd also like to mention that this parcel is not zoned commercial or manufacturing per the recently amended zoning ordinance that disallows solar facilities or renewable energy facilities to be built outside of industrial or commercial zoned areas. Thank you.
I appreciate it. With all due respect, I don't think we're going to go back and forth on this one. It's already been approved, so I'm just looking for I'm going to close the public hearing and look to see if there's a motion for extension.
Move to approve the extension.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Oh, motion? Okay. By Patillo. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Second by Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 2, 3. Aye, and approving the extension, and then 2 opposed, Hubbard and Gillette, correct? Okay. The ayes have it. Motion carries. Item number 10, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 10 is an evaluation of a request for a special use permit for assessor's parcel number 204-40039C to allow for an accessory residence greater than 50% of the size of the primary residence in an ROA 2.71A, which is single-family residential, manufactured homes prohibited, limited animal privileges, with a 2.71 acre minimum lot size zone in the Pinyon Pines vicinity. So the zoning ordinance allows for residential properties to have an accessory residence. And if those properties are less than 5 acres, there's a size limitation on those accessory residences. So the accessory residence cannot be greater than 50% of the size of the primary residence unless they get a special use permit. Staff recommends approval of the special use permit with standard conditions.
Opening the public hearing, is the applicant present? Do you wish to speak this time? Thank you. Are any questions for the applicant?
Sir, would you come to the podium? I just want to know, what is the reason you're asking for an additional home?
It's a guest house. My father is 90. He lives in a fifth wheel in Pahrump, and I want to move him onto our property. We live in an 1,100 square foot house. So if our house was bigger, I wouldn't need a special use permit to build a guest house.
Thank you. What I needed to know.
Yeah. I had several of my neighbors contact me who were concerned about Airbnb, and that's not the purpose.
Do me a favor, because there's another question. Name and address for the record.
Steve Schaufstall, 2719 South DW Ranch Road.
Thank you. Commissioner Bradshaw.
Thank you, Chairman. So is this going to require a new septic, and do you plan on having a new infrastructure and utilities installed for this house?
So we'll use the existing well and power. I had a 400 amp service permitted and installed earlier this year. I've already had the septic tank permitted and installed.
For this additional size of
Correct.
home.
Other questions? I have a question just out of curiosity. You said your neighbors have concerns of Airbnb and short-term rentals. Would you be willing to restrict this approval with non-revenue generating family use only?
I have no problem.
I don't even know if that's a thing, but I figured I'd ask.
Chairman, is that even legal to restrict
Yes,
that?
Commissioner?
Okay.
He asks if it's legal.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Chairman Hassett, I would have to
I would
double
question
check
it.
the state statutes for that. I do know that state statute prohibits the zoning ordinance from regulating short-term rentals. I don't know if the board can add a condition like that or not. I'd have to look into it.
Worth a try. You said yes. That was the right answer anyway, so thank you. There's one other individual who'd like to speak, Julie Snyder. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Julie Snyder. I reside at 2540 South Thunderhead Drive, Kingman, Arizona. I live about 5 acres from the gentleman who is asking to have this special permit. I'm in total denial on this for several reasons. I've owned my property up there for almost 29 years. I've resided in the house that we built for over 25 years. And when we purchased our land in Pinyon Pine Estates, we were under the assumption at that time that it was a single-family residential area, that you were not allowed to put in unauthorized buildings, etc. Part of the beauty of living up there is having the space and having the privacy and having the acreage on that land. To introduce another house onto a property enables everybody else up there pretty much to do the same thing. Most of our properties are over an acre, obviously, most of us around 3 acres to 5 acres. If one individual is allowed to put in a home for his mother-in-law or for anybody, then everybody else is going to be doing the same thing. Regardless of whether it's a home or a manufactured home, you are introducing an entire can of worms for everybody up there. I already have an illegal occupant living in a barn beside me to the east. I have another person to the west of me that has an illegal septic system in that has people staying there at odd different times. I would like to see our neighborhood, which really only consists of about 20 houses on our particular loop in Pinyon Pines Estates 1. And I would hope that the county could see that. By introducing that, you literally are asking everybody else to allow that. We like our privacy, we like where we live. We bought under that assumption that it was just for one person, not to have other people introduced into that. The manufactured homes is probably my biggest issue in the sense that for my property values.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate it.
Okay, there you go. Thank you very much.
There's no one else who's signed up, so closing the public hearing. Is there a motion for item 10?
So I'd like to make a comment. So I appreciate the discussion here, and I think it makes a lot of sense to how you approach that, in the sense that it does open up the opportunity for other people to do this, but then you say that there are people living illegally. So I really appreciate this individual coming forth and saying, is this an option? Can we do this? And right now, everyone is suffering with housing issues. The accessory residences are very important, so I move that we approve this item.
You motion to approve?
Second.
Yes. Okay. So, motion by Bradshaw, second by Patillo. All of those in favor?
This Commissioner
Any
Ruge.
opposed?
Nay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Hello?
One. The ayes have it. Thank you. Motion carries.
Commissioner Ruge had a comment. I don't know
Oh,
if you
my
guys can
apologies.
hear
I
him or
didn't
not.
hear that. Commissioner Ruge?
I would vote yay on this. I wasn't even sure if I was in the meeting because I haven't been acknowledged. So I just want to make sure that you are hearing me.
Yes, I hear you. I apologize for missing
But
that.
I would also approve. I think on the last vote you called it 3-2, and I had voted yay also.
On the previous, on item 9?
Yes.
Okay. We'll make that
So
adjustment. Thank
I
you very
just wanted
much.
to make sure that I was attending the meeting and that people were hearing me.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, he voted for it.
Thank you.
I know, but he said the previous one he voted for that we called 3-2. Item 11, Matthew Gunderson.
Item 11 is an evaluation of a request to amend the Mojave County zoning ordinance, section 46, which covers amendments to zoning districts or rezones to require a 1-mile notification radius for the application for all rezones to the MX heavy manufacturing zone. This came as we had a previously proposed amendment that was came before the commission with a petition from property owners. And then in that discussion, staff was directed to go back and make this change or propose this change instead. And so in this, the standard notification radius for other rezones is 300 feet. So that language would stay in there, and then we would add the language that says, except that notice shall be sent to each real property owner within 1 mile of a proposed amendment or change to the MX heavy manufacturing zone. Staff recommends approval of the proposed amendment.
Thank you. No one wishes to speak, but I'm going to open and close the public hearing. Motion from commissioners.
I move that we approve item 11, amending the zoning ordinance.
I'll second.
Thank you. Motion by Bradshaw, second by Helms. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Item 12, Matthew Gunderson.
We're going to defer to Gilbert Smaby.
Morning, sir.
Commissioners, Chairman Hassett, Commissioners. My name is Gilbert Smaby. I'm the Chief Building Official for the county. Item 12 on your agenda is an amendment to the Mojave County Building Ordinance. The building ordinance was revised in April 1st, 2024, and this item before you are just some clarifications and some basically housekeeping clarifications in the ordinance. I'd be free to ask any questions. It's specifically addressing our appeals procedures, Section 8 of the ordinance, and if you have any questions, feel free to answer them.
Commissioners, any questions?
So, I do. Thank you. So what brought this about? I vaguely remember some discussions about this, but maybe you can catch us up.
We were clarifying some of our appeals procedures in our abatement codes. The board did see that, and we made some major revisions. Again, the board adopted that in April, and one of our board of supervisors just had some clarification issues, just in verbiage of the ordinance, just to clarify it out a little bit better.
Thank you.
No other questions? I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion that we approve item number 12.
Motion by Gillette, second.
Second.
Second by Bradshaw. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 13.
So item 13 is going to be the formation of the general plan subcommittee, which should consist of 5 planning and zoning commissioners, 1 from each supervisor district, and also establish a meeting schedule. Staff is proposing for the meeting schedule to be held, it would start in July, and it would be the Wednesday following the Planning and Zoning Commission, so it'd be the 3rd Wednesday of the month. The intent of these meetings is to discuss the results of the community workshops that we've started. We've held 3 so far, all up in the Arizona Strip area. We've held one in Colorado City, one in the Beaver Dam area. Well, I guess that's only 2, huh? Not 3. Apparently I'm bad at counting. We've held 2 so far, and then we have 2 more scheduled for this month. One for the Lake Havasu City and Topak areas, and then one in Golden Valley. So the idea is we would take the comments and things that we receive from those community workshops, present them to the subcommittee, and we will move forward through this process with the subcommittee's help of how to implement those comments into the general plan update. So that the proposed schedule is the 3rd Wednesday of every month. We will need to figure out a alternative either time or location for the November meeting, because this auditorium is already booked at that time on that 3rd Wednesday, but we can work through that process and find that alternative later. But the kind of the set schedule would be the third Wednesday of every month in this location with the ability to attend virtually via Microsoft Teams. And with that, we will turn it to the commission to make the decision on who those 5 commissioners are going to be on that subcommittee.
Okay. First off, who's absent? Start there. They can. I'm kidding. What commissioners want to be on the subcommittee?
Chairperson Hassett.
Yes.
Commissioner Patillo has a question.
Commissioner Patillo?
Yeah, what type of time frame are we looking at as far as how long, how many months are we gonna would the meetings go on for?
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Patillo, the meetings would likely go throughout the remainder of 2024. I believe our last scheduled community workshop is in October. And so we would push that to a November meeting. And then maybe November would be the last one, or if there's additional items to discuss, it may continue on. The hope is to send the proposed amended general plan to the commission in early 2025. So the hope is to get the commission's input on that wrapped up in 2024, so then we can kind of compile everything together and present it formally to the entire Planning and Zoning Commission early in 2025.
Okay, so my thoughts on the committee composition would lie with something at least, you know, one member from each district, and then another member on top of that. Or no, there's 5 districts, isn't there? So just one member from each district. And I'm fine with myself, or if Mr. Rugi wants to do it for District 4.
Oh, Commissioner Rugi?
Colin, I'd be fine with you doing this. I actually have some out of the country commitments later in the year, so I would be happy to have you be on that.
So I would volunteer then for being on the committee if the commission sees fit to assign me that.
I had a conversation with one of the commissioners, and she's not here, and she said she wanted to do it, but I don't think we can't volunteer her. We should ask, but there's not everybody here. What?
She's just speaking.
Yeah.
Are you just
Yes, 3.
Okay, so you're up for 2.
Commissioner Barlow and I have had discussions, and so I pledge myself, so to speak.
I think he would appreciate that. Okay.
But I do have some questions on meeting schedules and times and et cetera. So perhaps when we get finished with this, we can sum those up.
I have my schedule for the year has been planned around the second Wednesday of. Now we're adding the third Wednesday, so there might be times that be by phone.
Yeah, can we zoom in?
Yeah, so each of the meetings will have a Teams option, and so you can be able to attend virtually.
So what is there an option to tag it onto the back of this meeting on the second Wednesday? Is that somewhat reasonable? I know that there's a meeting after this. Seems like
Real lengthy.
This,
A lot of time.
yeah.
yeah,
How long do those meetings
potentially an
run?
option? I believe we have the auditorium booked for the entire day on the second Wednesday of every month. We have had some items or some agendas that have gone pretty long into the afternoon for this meeting. So adding on another meeting after that might be difficult. Also, trying to nail down a start time of that may be difficult since we don't know when this meeting ends.
What is the expected length of those meetings?
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Helms, that is a good question. I don't know the answer to. We will try and be as precise as possible. It is a public meeting, so the public is able to attend and to speak and comment, and so it may depend on the amount of participation that we get.
Okay. I'll do it for District 2. John.
Good call. All right.
So what time would those meetings start? And that would be next month, I assume, or this month?
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Bradshaw, the meetings would start next month in July. I believe a 10 a.m. start time would work if that works for the commission. If they wanted it at a little bit earlier, or a little bit later, we may be able to adjust that. But I think the proposed time would be 10 a.m.
Would it be possible, can I just interject here in a matter of time? Can we just start an email thread after this? We have the commissioners, correct?
We have 4. Well, we have District 3 has not.
Want it?
Can we alternate?
That's a fair question. Are we allowed to alternate?
No.
I don't think so.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Did you say she was willing? Why don't we sign it?
Good try.
Say no.
Yep.
I mean,
Okay.
if she expressed that to you that she wanted to do it,
She said she would do it, Melanie.
all right. Here we go. Good? Okay.
I think we would need a motion and a second and a vote on the formation of it.
Okay. Entertain a motion for said committee.
Well, I'll move that we create the general plan committee with, do I need to mention out the staff members or the commission members? With the commission members that have volunteered.
And told.
I'll second it.
I will amend my motion to a subcommittee.
You guys good with that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
That was in favor, right? All right. Item 14, commissioners' comments.
I would like to reserve that maybe for after. when we
Absolutely.
finish.
Do we want to reserve call to the public as well for after? Okay. Does anyone going to roll
Unless
right
there's
into
call-
5?
Unless there's call to public. I don't know that people.
Is there any other call to the public besides individuals that have signed up for number 5 that they would like to speak? No? Okay. I will ask again after number 5 concludes. Before we start this process, though, I do want to state that your thoughts, feelings, emotions, they're all very valid. We're here to listen. This is getting passed on to the Board of Supervisors, but I would encourage you, and I ask very kindly, to remain professional and courteous to everyone in this room. There's 2 gentlemen in the back that would more than happily show you the exit should you choose not to. Okay? So, item number 5. Oh, I don't even know who's signing up for it. Hold on. You got it out? I pulled it. It's over here. I'm sorry. Item 5, Matthew Gunderson.
Item number 5 is an evaluation of a request for an amendment to the Mojave County General Plan from a suburban residential area land use designation. Hang on, let me start my slideshow here again. So from a suburban area residential area land use designation to an urban development area land use designation, and a rezone from an AR agricultural residential zone to an MX heavy manufacturing zone for a portion of assessor's parcel number 225-09052 to allow for a natural gas powered electric generation facility in the Mojave Valley vicinity. Staff has received 15 letters of opposition, 2 petitions, and 35 letters of support so far for this item. I will also say that the applicant did send the notice of the rezone to all property owners within 1 mile of the proposed location, as opposed to the required 300 feet, in conjunction with the amendment that was proposed and discussed earlier. Staff recommends approval of the amendment and rezone subject to the standard condition.
Thank you. Opening the public hearing. The applicant, are they present? Do you wish to speak at this time?
Chairman Hassett, if I could also, I apologize. We did add an extra condition on top of the standard conditions. that the amendment the amendment to the general plan and the rezone shall not become official until the sale of the property to the Arizona Electric Power Cooperative is completed. So if that sale were to fall through, then the rezone would not pass.
Thank you.
Chairman Assett, members of the commission, my name is Patrick Ledger. I'm the CEO of Arizona Electric Power Cooperative. I do have a presentation, so I would respectfully request some additional time to provide you with that presentation.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and add your address to that for the record, and then do commissioners, are you open to extending the time for presentation? About how much time do you need?
10 minutes, 15 minutes,
please.
okay?
Go ahead.
All right. I live at 10635 East Sierra Grande Drive in Hereford, Arizona. That's in Cochise County. It's about 3 or 4 miles from the Mexican border.
Okay.
Arizona Electric Power, and let's get that presentation up if we can. Yeah. All right, there we go. So Arizona Electric Power is a nonprofit. We call it a G&T, a Generation and Transmission Cooperative. We are the power and transmission arm of Mojave Electric Cooperative. Mojave Electric was established in the late 40s to serve rural areas where the for-profit entities refused to go because they couldn't make money. There are other co-ops in the state that are in a similar position near Tucson and down in the southeast corner of the state. And so at some point in the early 60s, when there was a lot of growth in the state, those co-ops came together and they established the same sort of nonprofit entity to provide for their power and transmission needs as well. So by coming together, these small entities were able to build much larger facilities at a much lower cost. And we've been operating that way since 1961. So we currently operate a large generation facility in Cochise County. We have a pretty ambitious plan to add a lot of new solar and battery, as well as some flexible new gas generation as a way to transition from an older fleet to a newer fleet, to make sure that we can meet all the regulatory requirements and that we can keep our costs low, and as well as provide reliable service into the future. So what we have in mind for this particular project is an installation of, at this time, 2 simple cycle gas units. These are LM6000s. These are pretty small units. The nameplate on these units are about 49 megawatts. The nameplate doesn't mean that's where they'll operate at. So in certain places, they operate at a little bit higher efficiency. In a lower elevation, like Mojave County, they're going to operate at about 49 megawatts. We're also putting some in at Apache Station near Wilcox, and those will operate about 42 megawatts because it's a higher elevation. So that is the purpose. We have one of these simple cycle generators at Apache working great. One of the most important things about these is that they're very reliable. They can start up very quickly, and that's important. I'll talk about that in a minute. And that they're very clean. So they have SCR technology, selective catalytic reduction, oxidation catalysts, and other things. So they're going to be operating on natural gas. These are aeroderivative engines. What that means is it's essentially like a 737 engine. When you go to the airport and you're surrounded by these engines, they're running jet fuel. And these will run on natural gas. So they're already much cleaner than the emissions from the plane engines that we experience when we go to the airport. And then on top of that, we're going to reduce all of the additional emissions, whatever emissions are left, because this is, as I said, a clean fuel, natural gas, by more than 90%. So that technology is really important. It brings the level of emissions well below the NAAQS standard, which is the EPA standard that protects health and safety in the country. I guess one of the other important things I mentioned at the bottom of the slide is that there are some concerns about, our intention here. But going back to the original point, we are a not-for-profit generation and transmission co-op. We're not in the business of making profit. We return all of our profit in the form of margin back to the membership, just as MEC does. So they receive a check, every few years when that margin is retired. So we are not going to be doing this to make sales into California. We have no interest in any of that. All of the facilities we've ever built are for the direct benefit of our members and the member consumers at the end of the line. And that's exactly what we're doing here. This is a load pocket that's well outside of our main co-op bubble. And so it's hanging off transmission system that from time to time is not reliable. And so having reliable generation in this region, just like Unisource does, is really important to the Mojave service territory. It's a large service territory. We have, more than 38,000 meters. We serve a lot of people in this area, and those people deserve the same level of reliability as all the other utilities are able to provide. So part of our larger plan is put in some large solar and battery in the Apache Station area. We are also putting in an energy storage system. You may have seen that. It's over on Antoinette and Joy Avenue. That's for the benefit of Mojave members. It will tie in some of Mojave's existing solar facilities so that they can dispatch that solar at a later time and shave essentially the peak and also offset cost. This is the last component. Solar battery it's a good resource, and it's something that we're going to be primarily transitioning from these older gas and coal and other generation facilities that we currently operate. But in order to do that effectively, in order to have a reliable system, you also have to have quick start, flexible generation that fills all the gaps in on solar and can operate no matter what the weather conditions are, whether it's night or day. And if you have overcast days, or say in the monsoon season for 2 or 3 days, that can be a substantial problem. And if you turn to the market to fill those gaps, that's exactly when the market goes sky high. And so we can fix these costs over a 30-year period, and we can operate and run gas through them at a much lower cost than market. Okay, so that's the benefit. Overall, just some of the other benefits: firm capacity. It fills in the intermittent nature of solar and battery. And it is a much more efficient generator than the older generators that we have. So here's the information related to the land. We went through an extensive process to determine what some viable options might be. We looked at more than a dozen different sites. As you know, there is one site, the Site A, that we have received zoning approval for this sort of facility. But the Board of Supervisors asked us to look at some other options as well. So we have, and this option that's on the table represents, we think, maybe a better opportunity. It meets all of those check-the-box kind of requirements. The land is available for purchase. It is right next to existing electrical infrastructure. These units will be tied in to Mojave's system, not the transmission that will for export. This is going to be directly tied into the distribution system. It will serve Mojave load at all times. It has access, very easy access to the existing gas transportation system. We believe the water rights they run with the land, and that we will have those for our benefit. And the distance from the neighborhoods is actually much improved over Site A. So this distance is represented here. You can see that this is the proposed sort of site that we have in mind, and we're looking at about 4,900 feet or 5,300 feet from the closest residences. If you look at a mile out, they're about 1,500, actually less. There are 15 residences. 2 miles out, it's about 800. So just some additional information. We know that near us there are existing sort of industrial, commercial type facilities. We've got an existing sand gravel operation nearby. We have, as we understand it, a MX zoning that was recently approved for a batch plant. So we think this is consistent with the area. Also, just as a sort of general information, a lot has been said by some folks about a 3-mile radius. It's really not something that the EPA looks at. The EPA promulgates certain health and safety standards, which these units will easily meet. And the EPA, obviously, this is not an EPA that slacking. These folks are probably more aggressive than prior administrations, and so we're very happy to meet those standards. So 99% of all plants have residents within 3-mile zone or area. 51% are gas plants. The average of those plants are much larger plants, 281 megawatts, 65,000 people within that area. We're looking at a much smaller impact. And this is just the list of the plants in Arizona that are very similar.
How much more?
1 minute.
I want to make sure that we're all fully educated on this, so please continue.
All right, thank you. So as you can see here in this list, most of the plants on this list, actually all of them, are much larger than ours. Even if we build 2 more units, which is the maximum, we'll be at 200 megas, slightly under 200 megawatts. So you can see that in some cases, these plants are within 500 feet, 1,200 feet, 1,500 feet. We are 49 and 5,200 feet. Okay, and these plants, some of them are much older, and their emission profile is much worse. They will still meet the NAC standards, certainly, because they have to, just like we will. We'll meet all the regulatory standards, including on the water issues. But this will be a much cleaner plant than most of the ones that are represented. This is the view shed impact. This is an accurate depiction of what the view shed would be from Willow Drive or Aquarius. You can see that unit. That's a standard gray unit that will come with the package that we are moving forward with.
Can you go back? That's
You bet.
All you did was, I'm assuming, add that graphic in there, correct? Or is that?
So what we did is we did an engineering analysis, just like we did with our sound modeling.
Got it.
We have tried to develop as an accurate picture based on really good, engineering analysis to try to determine what it would look like with a fair amount of precision from those 2 points. So that should be a very accurate representation of what you would see from those
Okay.
points.
Is that alfalfa?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It may be. It may be.
Commissioner, questions for the applicant?
I've got a few.
Go right ahead.
Thank you, Commissioner. So a couple of questions that I do have. You talked about, well, I don't know if you actually specifically talked about the noise generation and the noise levels. Maybe you could speak to that.
Yeah, we do have maybe we can bring up that other presentation if you don't mind.
And then while you're bringing that up,
Second, it might be useful to see the diagram.
it would be. And another question that I do have is, what kind of a outdoor lighting and system do you maintain? A lot of these power plants have aggressive lighting, so maybe you can speak to that as well.
We are happy to meet whatever standard, as long as we can comply with safety requirements. We want our employees always to be, safe, be able to be in well-lit areas. But essentially what we do in Cochise County, we do have some lighting restrictions because we're close to some of the observatories. So a lot of it is pointing down, and we are able to comply with all those.
Well, I think that is a serious concern, dark sky compliant, and obviously you do need to maintain safety if this were approved. But
Yes, sir.
I would strongly admonish a dark sky compliant lighting package.
Okay.
Next question, if you're not ready for the noise quite yet.
I'm ready, but go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So what you see here, I think, there it is. All right. So this is the sound modeling that we had some sound engineers put together. You can see that the center ring is right around the plant site. And then if you look at the key below, it shows you the different sound emissions from that area. The black line is an important one because that's a standard that's been set forth by EPA. They want you to meet that standard. That's the 48.6 dBA. They don't want plants to have an impact of more than that on areas around them. You can see that we are far away from that impact here in this particular line or siting. So if you go beyond the black line, the next line would be 45 dBA. The next line after that is a 40 dBA. And even from the 40 dBA, you're looking at a 600 feet distance from there to the closest residence. We did a sound demonstration to sort of determine, I know this is subjective, but I can tell you that at the 40 dBA, you're really very close to the ambient noise. Certainly tractors and other things that operate there in that area are going to be louder than that, much louder.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Yeah, and 40 decibels is basically a library.
Yes.
Okay. Construction time. What is your construction timeline, and how long would it take to construct? Obviously, during construction, there's a lot of equipment, a lot of movement. So maybe talk toward that a little bit.
You bet. So there are milestones here. This is one, requesting our zoning approval. The next would be to submit a air permit. That takes time. We don't start construction until we receive approval. We may also go down the road with some federal financing, and that would require a NEPA analysis as well. And then finally, once we're able to get through all of those processes, we would set up a construction time frame. We're thinking in this case of hopefully construction beginning in the 2025 time frame. Yes, the construction will entail trucks and some traffic. We are absolutely on board with making sure that we do dust mitigation. If there are other issues that you'd like us to tackle with respect to the access into the property, we are on board for that too. We do not want to impact neighbors any more than is necessary. We also expect that once construction is completed, you're talking about a small number of employees moving back and forth. It really won't be much different from, I think, the traffic currently. At maximum, maybe 4 or 5 employees at that plant.
Okay. One final question, probably maybe not final, but certainly not the least, is so talk about water usage, consumption, how you utilize water for this project.
Right. So this is a totally different technology from a steam generator. We have 3 steam generators at Apache Station. They use an awful lot of water. One is a coal unit. Another is a combined cycle. Your South Point plant, which is here near here, is a combined cycle. It uses an awful lot of water. These aeroderivative units are not steam-based. The water is used for emission control. So essentially the water is part of the process to extract that 90+% of the additional emission controls from the unit through the SCR. And so that's what we'll be using it for. So it's a much smaller, relative to these other technologies, much smaller amount of water. We have obtained the property with water rights. So we're looking to transfer both the water rights and the property at the same time. The water rights that are on the property are adequate for our needs. In fact, we expect that we will use less, we'll need less of those water rights than are currently on the land. So at least abstractly or theoretically, we should use less water than full utilization of the ag property.
Okay.
And it is guaranteed the water rights are transferring with the sale?
If they do not, we will not purchase this property. We
I
need
only
those
ask
water
because the property owner, its parent foreign company is Water Investment. So
rights.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly
Water
one-
Asset Management. I should say.
Right. That is one of the selling points of the property is that
Has transfer.
it has a transfer capability and it is a long-standing ag property. So the water use has been established over many years.
Right. Did you have a question? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I hate to be ignorant, but so I'm asking you to clarify some things for me.
Sure.
It says to allow for a natural gas-powered electric generation facility.
Yes.
So you're going to be bringing gas up to that location?
Yeah, so if you look at the map, let's pop back up if you would. Take a look at that sound map again. Once we get that back up. There we go. So it's a little bit hard to see, I guess, on this map, but if you look over right here, you can kind of see a pattern in the desert there. That is an existing natural gas pipeline. Okay, so it's already there. And all we'll be doing is connecting about a mile from that line over to our plant site. It's a very short hop.
So you'll be purchasing gas?
We will be purchasing gas. In fact, we were able to find some transportation to meet our needs here. And the background on this is that you already have an elaborate, extensive gas transportation system here in Mojave County. Okay, so we're just taking advantage of what's already there. Most of that gas has been utilized for other purposes, and a lot of it moves to California. And frankly, it doesn't benefit the state of Arizona. It doesn't benefit Mojave County. It goes to LNG and people like Sempra who sell it overseas for huge profit. We were able to find, despite the fact that there's not a lot left, enough natural gas transportation to firm up our relationship with the transporter so that we will have firm natural gas deliveries at the plant for the next 30 years.
And are you working with the Fort Mojave Indian tribe to go through, because they have the 160 acres that's in between you and that gas line?
So
what's the consensus from the tribe? That's a major,
right.
I would say governing body or entity within our community.
Yes, and I'm happy to talk through that.
They're yellow. We see them.
Yes.
They're very bright. Thank you.
The easements that we are looking at actually go across BLM and then through private landowners on the north side of the property.
Gotcha.
We don't believe that we'll be needing to go across any tribal land.
Okay.
Either for the natural gas pipeline or any transmission or distribution facilities. We don't expect the need to do that at all. And I will just, getting back to the question about whether we've contacted the tribe, we've made numerous efforts to contact the tribe. I provided a letter to the chairman. I asked for a meeting. I know that Mojave Electric has made efforts to ask for meetings. We have talked through their representatives and asked for meetings. We have not had an opportunity to meet with them. There's not been a single effort to actually
You've
sit
done your
down
due
with us.
diligence, it sounds
We
like.
certainly have tried, and we would prefer to, because we think this is beneficial for everybody, including them, and we'd be very happy to talk with them about this.
They just need to answer you.
That's right.
Chairperson Hassett.
Yes.
Commissioner Rugi has a question.
Commissioner Rugi?
Yes, I haven't heard anything about pollution. Is there what kind of pollution would be created by this plant?
So let's see if I can find, it's the other slide deck, I believe. The other slide deck? Yeah, here we go. Bear with us, folks, I'm sorry. Here we go. Okay.
No problem.
There we go. All right, so 2 slides that I think helps give you some perspective on this. So if you take a look at what a typical coal plant emission looks like, or a plant that operates with petroleum, there are not a lot of those left, but there are some. And you compare that to the Mojave Energy Park LM6000s, it's a teeny sliver of the emissions relative to a standard coal plant. Okay. Now let's look at, these are the NAC standards. So these are the standards that are required by the EPA to operate under. When we file our air permit, it'll go to the state. They have to meet EPA standards. So those blue bars represent the amount of emissions that the EPA has determined is safe and protects the community health. Okay. So you can see that the circles, the reason that we've circled all of this, that in some cases our emission profile is so small, it's such a small sliver that it's hard to see. Okay, these are really among the cleanest natural gas generating resources you can put in. And as I said, if you compare them to their aeroderivative units, so if you look at jet fuel emissions out of an airport, they're already clean coming in, but with the SCR technology and all of the other equipment that we will have there, that will reduce the last bit of it by 90%. So we easily meet those NAC standards that the EPA has set forth to protect health and safety.
And would I be correct in assuming that there's no odor associated with the burning of the natural gas?
There's no what?
Odor.
Odor.
Odor. No, there will not be any odor.
Great.
I have a question for staff, just for clarification purposes, for my own comprehension. This is contingent upon the sale, right? So today, it's just an amendment to your general plan to allow for an MX heavy manufacturing, which is what they need for the plant, out of agricultural. But once that rezoning, hypothetically speaking, if this proceeds, the rezoning is completed, the sale goes through, they're going to be back here to get the approval for construction like they did in Fort Mojave?
Chairman Hassett, no. So the MX zone would allow for the use by right. And so the other location that was originally proposed, they had rezoned to MX, and that rezone that they previously received had expired. So they came in for an extension of time on that. This one we would rezone to MX. They would still need to go through the site plan process, right, through that review, but that would not come back to the planning.
Because the only thing they need in order to make this happen is the MX heavy manufacturing.
That is correct.
Correct. Okay. Thank you.
Chairperson Hassett. Commissioner Patillo has a question.
Commissioner Patillo?
Yeah, this is primarily for the applicant, and I don't mean to go back to a subject that you've already spoken at length about. But as far as your air quality permitting for your emissions, I'm assuming that's something similar to like a Title V permit.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but I will tell you it's a public process, so it's a standard public process. So folks will be able to see the filing that we make. They'll be able to object or to support it. It will be an open process for a period of time, and so we've encouraged people that if they have concerns about that, to engage the ADQ air permit process and make sure that they have an opportunity to let them know how they feel.
Yeah, it does sound like a Title V permit to me. I've actually had to get several of those for my previous employers. So it would be highly regulated. And
highly regulated.
I guess my experience is ADEQ and the EPA are not opposed to significant fines for air quality violations, and I believe those fines start at $10,000 a day and go on up, don't they?
Yes, that's fair to say. And I can tell you, in the 60 years that we've operated these units and other units at Apache Station, we have never been fined or penalized. We've always met the standards, and that's not just on the emission side, but also on the water quality side.
Any other questions?
That's all I have. Thank you.
You bet.
Go ahead, Robert.
On your presentation, you have a line in there that says nonprofit. Can you explain that?
Sure. We're filed under the IRS rules as a nonprofit. We don't make profits. All of the profits that, or the margins that we do make, so we set a budget. And then if we do better than our budget and there's a little bit left over, that goes to something called patronage capital. Okay, and so that patronage capital is determined by the board, and the Mojave members elect board members to Mojave, and then that board elects their representatives to the ABCO board. So all the co-ops that are part of ABCO have 2 directors represented directly by your folks here in Bullhead City in their service territory. That board will make a decision about what to do with that money. It can either be invested back, say if we have a project, into capital, or it will go to a capital retirement. And so if you're part of the Mojave system, you may receive a check every once in a while, and that check is a retirement. You'll actually get some of that money back. And ABCO also provides money back to its members. Over the last 12 years, we've retired capital in 10 of those 12 years. It depends on your financial metrics. If you're healthy and you don't need the money for, say, new investment, that money goes right back to the membership. We do not, it doesn't go in the form of tax dividends, or I'm sorry, share dividends. It doesn't go into bonuses for people. We don't operate that way. We're a nonprofit like any other nonprofit.
Another thing, these stations, they kick in if we have a failure, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, these are...
We've never had a failure in Mojave County ever.
Well, there are failures in a lot of places around the especially in the West. And
around the area, but right here, no.
So it's sort of like you know, sometimes you ask people for, why are you spending all this money on insurance when I've never had my house blow up or my car, wreck? Because sometimes it happens. That's the answer. And so having local generation it's not just about, the kind of reliability that you hear about. It's about situations that are more uncommon. There are transmission failures, and the entire system here is hanging off of the transmission system. We have transmission that comes from Apache, and we deliver power. We've been doing it pretty well for a long period of time. But the growth here and the fact that we are entering into a period in the market where the market prices are extremely high, there are multiple benefits in putting local generation in. Reliability is one of them, but another benefit is that the cost that will come from that plant will beat the market. You'll be able to lower your costs relative to the market, and you have exposure here because without generation, you're having to go to the market. And if the market keeps on going up, that cost is going to accrue directly to the membership. And I would just point one other thing out. It's easy to think that our older units are going to operate forever, that we've been able to maintain them. We do that because we're not for profit. Whereas an APS wants to build as much as they can and pass those costs on because they get a return on investment. We don't get that. We don't want that. We maintain old units because it's efficient and low cost. But if the EPA regulations go forward and older units don't always operate forever, we could be down generation at Apache as well. And we're building a new generation at Apache, and we're building new generation here. And we're putting solar and battery in large extent so that we can make that transition so we're not depending on these old units or subject to regulations, say, from the EPA that shut down units, and now we're exposed to the market. That exposure could bankrupt companies like MEC.
So these units, are they being used 100% of the time, or they just kick on? Okay, then where are you making the money? What does it benefit our people here?
Because you've got a load profile here.
Who are you selling the electricity to if it's not running?
It will all go to MEC members, every bit of it. Okay? So it operates it may operate up to about 40% of the time, and that is dictated by EPA rules. It's dictated by our air permit. It's not dictated by what we might want to do. I wish we could run it more because it would save you more money. It would. When we will run it will be determined based on when the most value we can extract from it will be, and when there are emergency conditions that we absolutely need it to make sure that we can reliably serve you for a day or 2 days or 3 days or whatever period of time. This will not serve the entire Mojave load. The Mojave load has grown substantially. We're up at 255 megawatts at this point. It's getting big. It will serve about 100 megawatts of that load. But we've made a commitment to this, we will be able to identify some important circuits, and we'll be able to provide emergency services over time. We've been able to do that in some of our other member service territories, and we'll do it here.
Chairman Gillette,
I'd like to ask
Vice Chair.
our
Go ahead.
attorney, is it okay for us to disclose information that we have received from the Mojave Indian tribe in a letter?
Commissioner, yes, you can disclose that. It would be public record unless there's anything in there that.
The Fort Mojave Indian tribe requests to postpone rezoning and/or general plan amendment requests from Mojave Electric Cooperative. The reason they say that is because they want to make sure that nothing that you do is going to adversely affect their tribe.
Understand, and I would respectfully disagree with that position. And I will tell you, if their concern is that what are the impacts on the tribe, then I would respectfully ask the tribe to sit down with us and have a conversation so that we can go through all of the processes. Now, and I would also suggest this. As I described, this is a first step. Okay, this is only the first step. We're going to have to file an air permit. So in my view, the more immediate impacts might be the air permit question. And so they will have an opportunity over the next several months to look at the information that's provided in the air permit, to react to that information, to engage in a public process. They will have lots of opportunity to do that. They have really, over the last several months, as we've been looking at the process, they've had an opportunity to sit with us and they have not. So I don't think an extension is warranted. I honestly don't.
Hold on. That was going to be a question, but let's let them finish, please.
They generally say that they are not against the exploration, and they do support clean and renewable. They say that. They want us to reject this until residents and the tribe is provided with adequate information regarding environmental safety impact and protocols for any changes.
Understood. So again, there's a lot of folks that want all the answers up front, but I can't provide the answers up front of what the direct impacts are until I have a site.
Well, it
so
sounds
this
to
is
me
the site.
like the Indians are want to be cooperative,
Sure.
but there are certain things that they want to know about first.
Well, I would be happy to provide that information. Once we receive the zoning designation, then we can do our due diligence on this property. We can determine what the impacts are going to be with specificity. We'll be able to file an air permit request to ADQ. I'm happy to sit down with them. My staff will be happy to sit down with them. Well, I'm happy to talk about ingress, egress. I'm happy to talk about any of the impacts, whether there are a need for a fence, a need for vegetative screening, a need for whatever it is that they might be interested. We really are, whether they think so or not, we are focused on the communities that we serve, and we're happy to do this, and we have a track record of doing it. We serve lots of different entities in this state. A lot of them are public power. A number of them are tribes. So we have a track record of being able to find ways to serve to the benefit of those tribes, and I think we can do that here. I do not think that it's appropriate or warranted to delay this, given the fact that we have reached out to them many times. I think it would be more helpful, frankly, if we went through the rezoning, the amendment, we received the amendment. Now I think there may be a reason why for the tribe to sit down with us and to negotiate the arrangement.
Have you met with the people who live around this proposed?
So we've had 3 public meetings, and we've offered up an opportunity for folks to attend, including last night. So we invited, I'm not sure, I think more than 1,000 people. We went beyond a mile. We asked, we publicized it. It was out there. We were open arms. Whoever wanted to attend. I think we had more than 50 people attend last night. We went through more than 2.5 hours of material. We answered every question that was asked of us. Honestly, Commissioner, we have done everything we can to engage in that conversation, and we will continue to. And I believe strongly that if we get through this amendment process today and the Board of Supervisors, there will be a more important reason now to sit down and really engage on the details.
Thank
you. My question was, is there a member of the tribal, I don't know the proper terminology, so I apologize, council and or management? Hi, good morning. Did you sign up to speak? Okay, can you bear with me 1 second? Is there any other questions direct to the applicant?
Yeah, I do have a question, Chair. In this letter, multiple times it says that the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe wants to better understand the parameters of this project. And at the beginning of your presentation, you've said you've reached out multiple times, both MEC and yourself. If we were to consider a postponement of this and to July and say, we want to see the meeting between you two happen, we know you're present now, but the conversation that happens outside of a meeting like this is much more appropriate than what's going to happen right now, all this bickering. This is a social dilemma. In the letter, it says they understand the need for additional power utility and redundancy in our utility services, but they're unwilling to have the meeting with you. If we postpone this and say we need to see a meeting and some communication between the two parties, and it comes back in July and there's still no meeting had, that's pretty clear. Am I not mistaken by understanding it that way, that they're not open to communication? You want to have the communication. We're saying let's postpone this 1 more month, make the communication happen, come back and have this a final decision. Is that an adequate recommendation?
So
Well, hold on a second. I don't know precisely what we're clapping about. If they've already offered to have this meeting multiple times and we've gotten to this point, this is sad, right? This is a social dilemma. We were talking about redundancy in our utility services. People, their heart monitors, their medical services, every time there's a power outage, being an EMS person myself, when something happens bad, specifically last year when we lost all that power utility down in our area, we had to respond. So for the communication to not already happen at this point, it's a little disappointing. So if we say right now as a governing body, make sure this happens between now and July so that we can have this, and if it doesn't, well, I think that we're going to see very clearly that communication is not happening.
Yes, so we would certainly comply with that, but I would respectfully disagree, and I would suggest that if we're able to get your support for the amendment today, we will have time before the Board of Supervisors meeting, and what I would maybe even suggest you do is direct, folks like the tribe that have issues to sit down in advance of that meeting. We're happy to do that. My concern here is that, keep in mind, we are a nonprofit entity, so is Mojave. This has consumed a tremendous amount of our resources over the last 2 or 3 months, a tremendous amount of our resources. I have a number of staff down here that could be doing some really important work back in Benson. If we continue to prolong this and it just continues to become, prohibitively expensive and difficult, I find that to be problematic from the point of view of a nonprofit. So our preference would be, please look at this objectively based on the information that you've received and act accordingly. And we will, I'm obligating myself and my staff, we will be happy to sit down in the intervening period between now and the Board of Supervisors meeting to meet with the tribe and whoever else that is interested.
Yeah, I understand that we are just a recommendation board. So even if we make the decision to pass, postpone, or decline today, the Board of Supervisors can make that ultimate decision. I was just curious.
Question.
Sorry?
I have one easy question.
Commissioner Hubbard?
My question is, why did you pick here
Why did we pick what?
Why did you pick here?
This particular site?
Yeah, in Arizona, or yeah, in this particular area. Why did you pick it?
Because this is the Mojave Electric service territory. Because we serve 50,000 people here, and we need to make sure that they're served reliably and at a low
Well,
cost.
but why did you pick this area? There's other areas in Arizona. There's big areas in Texas or whatever you can put these plants.
Yeah.
Why did you pick this one? Was it look easy for you or
So,
what?
No, we're not a big utility that has resources in Texas or other places. We're Arizona, and we're only in the rural counties where our members are. So in Cochise County, the reason we're there is because Sulphur Springs Electric
My
is there.
question
And the
was,
reason
why
that
did
we're
you
here-
pick this? What was the criteria for picking this area?
When you say area, do you mean lot or literally
The area,
Mojave County?
the Mojave County and the area that they're in.
Every
Because
time that the electric utility has to go and purchase energy, we're subject to energy costs above what we are
Yeah,
normally
but why
used
did they
to paying.
pick this area?
They're trying to provide that utility at a lower cost to their members, so they're making their own generation
Right.
station.
So it's about serving the co-op here. You've got 50,000 or more members here and you have a growing service territory. So you have an electric load here, right? You've got a load. You can either serve it from transmission across hundreds of miles, or you can combine that with some local generation, and some of that is solar. Mojave's been good about putting in some solar. Solar has some use, certainly. This is the other side of that component. You put in some solar, you put in some flexible natural gas, and over time, we're going to be able to better serve this particular load here in this valley that we're responsible for serving. We have a contract, obviously, with Mojave. We have obligations to serve the members here, and the best way to serve it is to put some generation here in this valley close to their load center.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Ma'am.
Just wanted, last thing, sir, sorry. I want to mention that we do have over 700 cards that were submitted to Mojave Electric in support of what we're doing. We also conducted a survey, and the survey overwhelmingly demonstrates support for the project.
Thank you very
for your
much.
time.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
My name is Ashley Hemmers, 2550 Spirit Mountain Drive, Mojave Valley, Arizona. I'm here to present and hand deliver the letter that was referenced. One of the reasons why we are providing this is because the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe is a federally recognized Indian tribe. And so that means that we engage with the public through the government sources, starting at the commission and the staff level, to the Board of Supervisors, and also to the state. And so also, here's the letter, and it's 2 pages as well. For us, one of the reasons why we're concerned here today is because what has been proposed here in the application is a rezone requirement. And so when we utilize our general land use planning here, we can put that up. When we utilize our general land use planning, because we have a tribal general land use plan that we coordinate with Mojave County, we try to mirror the uses of the land. And so the identity of the parcel that was open to the rezone application here is 857 feet away from the adjacent tribal property, which we currently have zoned comparable with Mojave County. And we do those things so that if Mojave County has suburban residential, that we don't build power plants next to suburban residential. And so I wanted just to make that clear is that we were notified through the Fort Mojave opposition asking for support. We believe in a fair process through the county. That's why we have public meetings. That's why we have the Board of Supervisors. And so we try our best to stay nonpartisan and participate in open and public meetings. when we were notified of in that Fort Mojave process, our Hammock Power Service and our cultural department, which helps to coordinate the NEPA process, the National Environmental Protection Act, we issued concerns through that NEPA process because the two gas lines follow on BLM, shared state land, tribal land, and private ownership, which means that there will be a necessity for engagement and communication. And so our department staff have engaged with the property, especially in Fort Mojave. We're willing to engage here. We're not against natural gas, but we do find discernment with the request for amending the general land use plan to change from suburban residential, which is what Mojave Valley looks like in this particular parcel, to manufacturing, heavy manufacturing. And that provides additional concern. One of the things that we had asked of county staff before this committee meeting here is if it required, can we take a look at an environmental impact report, environmental impact statement, something similar to that, to identify if there will be any impact or if they would have plans for safety if something should happen. Technology fails, we get it. We just wanted to see the plans. In your current general land use plan, for this type of amendment, it did not require an environmental impact statement or environmental impact report. Now, we know that the general land use plan is coming up for renegotiation and initiation. We are open to participating and have participated in that process fully since the general land use plan has been designated. So that's why a lot of our plans are mirroring, because we work at the county level to make sure that we're in that cooperative agreement and arrangement. But for this situation, the amendment, because of the growth in the area from 2015 to now, we in Mojave Valley have never had to identify these types of issues. And so for us, we're here today in opposition, asking for a postponement and a denial for the amendment request because you have already initiated your general land use plan process. In that general land use plan process, it provides adequate opportunity for residents, tribal governments, other stakeholders to participate, issue concern, engage. For us at the tribal government, we are highly concerned. There was a call that took place once it hit a Hammock Power Service and all of our staff. There was a call that took place between our tribal chairman and MEC, as the gentleman stated. And we said, hey, we're concerned about the change to manufacturing because we looked in the general plan and we saw the types of businesses that can go into a heavy manufacturing area. And so that's our predominant concern and why we're here today to answer any questions is that, one, we'd like more information like issued in the letter. Two, we're trying to participate in the county process in the best way, in good faith. We're not trying to impede on a business. We believe that businesses need to come in and do their due diligence. And we're just asking for that diligence to happen. And right now, because of the lack of regulatory commitments for the change of amendment, it has us concerned because we have these suburban agricultural residential areas and we've planned for that type of growth, and this would critically change all of that landscape. And so right now it's 2 49 megawatt peaker plants, but if the amendment goes in, the parcel that is in negotiation for purchase would open that whole parcel, all of that property, for manufacturing and heavy operating equipment, which is a change in dynamic to, if you've been to Mojave Valley, the small town rural lifestyle that we do have. And so I'm just here to provide that information. We're willing to engage, we're willing to meet. We have sent questions to MEC staff as well. They'd like to meet in person. They were limited questions, something that could have been a quick email. And so, for us, we're very concerned about this back and forth. We're not here. We've never had to do that in Mojave County for the general land use planning. We don't want to do it. Local residents opened a public meeting. We joined them. We're not MEC customers, so we didn't get notified. And so for us, You know, when we look at what's happening, we're really counting on the county to help provide that notification. Since we became aware, county staff has provided the application, the information. And so we've been doing our due diligence since our awareness point. On May 6th, I made a statement here to the Board of Supervisors that we became aware and that we are concerned and that we would look into what was supplied to the county, and that's what we've done. And we're asking to at least have more information about what this impact could be in the area, because it would change the area quite drastically from what it is right now.
Thank you very much for that presentation. I don't believe we can interact with call to the public, but can I? Not call to the public, but anyone who signs up like this.
Chairman, you can ask questions. I mean, generally for decorum, it's nice to have one person come at a time. But if you have questions now,
Okay. I'm just curious your position with the tribe. I appreciate what you've said here today, but what is your position with them?
I'm the Chief Administrative Officer, the Tribal Administrator. I manage the public and private arms of the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe. I report directly to our elected officials, our Tribal Council, and our Tribal Council has provided notice to the Board of Supervisors, who are also elected officials, that we are interested in engaging on a county to tribe level.
Pretty high ranking position, it sounds like. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
All right. Reset timer. Tony Barbaro, followed by Donna Mendez, please. Tony, going once. Oh. And Donna, are you here? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for having us today. My name is Tony Barbaro. I am a member, first of all, of MEC. I am also a board member, elected by my constituents, my members. And my main job is to make sure that we try and do the best we can for their interests. Last September, we had a terrible outage due to a storm that was unpredictable. And lots of people went without electricity for up to a week. With peaking units, the peaking units that EPCO is trying to build for us, it would have saved us last year over $11 million in our budget, which our members would have seen a savings on their bills. But because we had to go out to the market and buy electricity at a much higher rate, their bills were high. And a lot of people in Mojave County can't afford that. We make all kinds of concessions for it, but, you know, we're here to try and benefit members of Mojave Electric that have elected us. And we're not getting any cooperations from people who don't belong to Mojave Electric. Aha Makav.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Donna Mendez, followed by Kim Qualey. Kim, are you here? Kim? Oh, okay. You're up next, okay? This is Donna.
Okay, Chairman, Commissioners, Donna Mendez. I'm not only a member of the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe, I'm more importantly a mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. My obligation, my responsibility is to protect my grandchildren, as you may also, to speak for them, to preserve for them our land, our water, and anything that may hinder their physical illness. I don't know what's going to happen down the line. My creator, God, may be calling me home soon, but I'm speaking for my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and future generations that, and I say no for the rezoning. No for the rezoning. And I also like to say that my understanding is you did say no to Fort Mojave. How are we any different than Fort Mojave people?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on. No. Wait. I asked very no, I'm sorry. Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate it. I asked very politely in the beginning how we're going to have the decorum of a meeting. Let's maintain that so we can get through this, okay? I'm asking you politely. Let's not do that again. Kim Quayle, followed by Ina Platas. Ina, are you here? Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
My name is Kim Qualley. I live at 2235 Peacock Mountain Drive in Mojave Valley. I'm probably maybe one of the people here today that live the closest to this site. It only takes 3 to 6 acre feet to grow alfalfa from seed to harvest for a year. That's about 450,000 gallons. And to formulate how many gallons over total that a LM6000 would use, the turbine, you'd need startup gallons of 50,000 gallons of water, times the capacity, times the hours of operation, which would come out to be about 14,700,000 gallons of water. But it has to be pure water, so it has to be refined, generally using reverse osmosis. And a reverse osmosis takes at least 4 to 7 gallons of water to make it 1 gallon of reverse osmosis water. So if you multiply the 14,700,000 gallons by 4, that would be about 58,800,000 gallons of water. That's only for one peaker. That's only for the one LM6000. You'd have to multiply that by each one. So talking in acre feet, that would be about 180 acre feet for one turbine. And since natural gas and water are considered nexus, which means that they are considered equal parts consumed, it's just as much gas, just almost equal amounts of gas and water to do a peaker plant. Mr. Ledger was asked at the Los Lagos Town Hall meeting, hosted by MEC, how much water would be used, and he said about 100 homes worth of water, but then admitted later that he wasn't sure how much water it was.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Can I ask you one question? Did you attend any of the town halls that MEC put on?
I attended the one at Los Lagos.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I couldn't last night. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Ina? And going forward, anyone speaking on 5, if you could please state your name, address, and whether or not you attended a town hall for the record, I'd appreciate it.
Good morning. My name is Ina Platas. I live at 720 Riverfront Drive in Bullhead City, Arizona. I have been a Mojave County resident for 30 years. I support the natural gas project because it reduces cost over time by improving efficiency and avoiding expensive market power purchases. Often, the cost of electricity on the market is higher in the summer months for MEC because of the desert climate and supply availability. Without the natural gas units, residents will be exposed to high market power purchases, potentially raising the summer months bills to prices that are unaffordable for MEC members. I did not attend the town hall meeting, but I was previewed to the information. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Did you attend a town hall put on by MEC? I didn't hear it. I missed it all.
Oh.
Is that a yes or no?
That was a no, but I did read all the information provided.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. I almost had to check the tapes. May I have Deborah Johnson and Angela Miles, please? Deborah and Angela, are you here? Thank you.
Thank you for having us, commissioners. I'm Deborah Johnson with Mojave Electric Co-op. I'm a representative of Board of Directors, been elected by the members. I'd like to first and foremost acknowledge the feelings of trying to understand the situation. And I feel that we're trying to put out information to best understand the growth that is needed in our area. With the future of electric being restricted and the growth and development on the rise, we need to take action to secure our Mojave County future. Solar and battery and storage cannot achieve this alone. These proposed gas units would do that effectively with a reliable and cost benefits to the community. These future units are something for our community, for the Mojave area, for the MEC co-op members who are a nonprofit co-op. So this is benefiting us, for us and our community. We are working really hard to prove that the pollution, the reliability, and the effectiveness of these are very clean and to the standards that are put forth with our governments. So thank you very much for listening today, and I hope that you move to approve.
Thank you. Angela Miles. Then may I also have Ava Corbett after?
Thank you very much for letting me speak. I'm totally against the location.
Name, address, and attendance for the record, please.
My name is Angela Miles. I live at 2052 East Aguia, Mojave Valley, Arizona, and I'm less than 300 miles from the proposed plant. I did attend a meeting at, the notice was put on my front gate the day of the meeting, and I got my neighbors to go with me. And then there was a meeting last night. And last night it was at a golf course, and there was no air conditioning. And I would think that somebody that wants to propose a great big power plant and has all of these rules and all of these regulations and all of these great people that they are going to bring in could at least get some air conditioning, because they knew they were going to have that meeting there before. And when they went and did their little, they did an example on noise. So you know what they did? They turned off all the fans. So we had no fans and we had no air conditioning. Now, I just don't think that's very professional, and I don't think that these people really want to do things for Mojave Valley or Mojave County. They just want to put this power plant in their portfolio and look like they're very important. The gentleman that just spoke, that came from, where did he say it was? He said he's 800 miles from the Mexican border. And no, he said he was 500 miles from the Mexican border, and that there were 800 people in Benson. And he has one of these in his backyard, and he's happy. Well, I don't see how anybody could be living that close to Mexico and have one of these in their backyard and be happy. You know, I'm against it.
Thank you very much. For the record, Mojave Electric is our power provider, so they are invested in Mojave County. There's one of our power providers. So I know your statement was, well, there's Unisource, there's Ahamakaw Power, there's multiple. Thank you very much. Ava Corbett, followed by Wanda Jenkins. Wanda, are you here? Wanda? Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm just verifying so I don't waste anyone's time with people who might have left.
Eva Corbett, 2426 Topanga Drive, Bullhead City. I've been a MEC stakeholder for over 20 years that I've lived in the area. I'm very happy with the service. And the only reason that I'm here is to urge all the commissioners to approve this zone change. It's just a zone change. That's all it is. We're not building the power plant today. This is the first step. Please approve it onto the Board of Supervisors. They ultimately will make the final decision. During the power outages on Labor Day 2022, I think you all remember that, the wind knocked out our power lines, and that's the reason we were down. It wasn't because of failure of Mojave Electric Company. They were immediately working 24/7 to get those power lines back up, and I realize it didn't happen in Havasu or Kingman, but people ultimately would die if it could happen again. Please approve this power plant. We desperately need the power for emergencies, especially for our elder population that we have in Bullhead City and Mojave Valley. It's a huge senior population, and we are the most affected by heat. We cannot survive without electricity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Wanda Jenkins, followed by John Nelson. John, are you here? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wanda Jenkins. I am 49 years old. My address is 1337 East Levy Way, Mojave Valley, Arizona. I am employed by the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe as a tribal employment officer. And I oppose this, and I oppose this. I'm speaking for our tribal members, and we live in a valley, and when with all the mountains around us, anything that goes on is going to stay in that valley. So, we don't want that. We don't want to be breathing in these things. And then the rezoning, why? I mean, pick another area. If they're going to rezone in another area, let them fight over that. But not our area, please. And I'd like to say I oppose this. Thank you so much.
Did you attend a town hall meeting put on by MEC?
No, I was not given any notice or anything.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
John Nelson, followed by Caroline Strecker. Caroline, are you here? Oh.
Chairman Hassett, Commissioners. My name is John Nelson. I live at 5404 South Highway 93, 7 miles south of 40 on Highway 93 on the way to Wickiup. I'm equal distance from Kingman and Wickiup. I'm going to talk about something a little different. I'm a board member. I am the representative for 15,000 people in District 1. This is going into District 1. And my board members have told me that they overwhelmingly want this. They want the reliability, and they don't want to have to worry about whether we're going to end up like California, where we've got rolling blockouts in the middle of the summer, and I've got my little old ladies down in Wickiup that have got to worry about whether they can pay for their meds or pay for their electric bill, and they don't want to have to, and they don't need to. This is a clean, environmentally sound project. These things, this is not a one-off. This is not like somebody thinks that talks about how polluting these units are. This is not a Model T. This is a Ferrari. This is not 1970. And I don't want to have to go back and tell these people that no, we're not going into a new age of energy. We're going to have to go back to the Stone Age. And this is something that we desperately need. This is a desperate situation, and we need it. We need it for reliability, and we need it financially. It will help out Mojave Electric. It'll help out our power supply. It'll help out all of our members. It just, and you know, once again, because of my members, they're telling me they need this, and I believe them. I'm an engineer. That's what I do.
Thank you very much. Caroline Strecker, followed by Ivan Brown and Carol Small. Both, I'm assuming, are in attendance. Carol, are you here? Ivan? Carol? Yes? Okay. Just be ready that way in an effort to save time. Go ahead.
Caroline Strecker, 5556 South Integrity Lane, Fort Mojave, Arizona. I did attend the protest, the meetings put on by the people, but I'm going to go relatively fast because 2 minutes goes quickly. I stand before you to voice my opposition and express concerns about the proposal to build this gas plant in any neighborhood. I repeat, I do support building this project, just not in any neighborhood, not Fort Mojave, not Mojave Valley, not Bullhead City. Firstly, as a current healthcare provider and local nurse practitioner, I'm obligated to consider the health implications. Gas power plants do emit pollutants, such as nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, ambient particulate sulfate concentration, wet sulfate deposition, which can have detrimental effects on integumentary, which is skin, and respiratory health, particularly for children and the elderly. Studies have shown that communities living, including a 3-mile radius near these plants, experience higher rates of aggravated asthma, decreased lung function, and Mojave Valley already has a known and high occurring of coccidioidomycosis, a pulmonary fungal infection, aka valley fever. This responds to dust and water steam conditions. So are you willing to compromise the health of our families for this project? Please contact me if you need references. Moreover, the environmental impact cannot be overlooked. While gas is often touted as a cleaner alternative to coal, it is still a fossil fuel that contributes to environmental damage, heavy water usage, and other pollutants. Progressive, better, improved verbiage does not equate none. And at a time when this county is already being heavily targeted for a multitude of solar and wind projects across the federal and private sector, plopping a power gas plant in any neighborhood is unprincipled, even admitted today. I visited and spoke with our board supervisor's office to inquire and understand where the majority of the support of this project is coming from. It's coming from out-of-county residents, Bullhead City residents who have no skin in the game, no children at risk, no property at value.
Thank you very much. Ivan Brown. I'm sorry, that's not how that's. I don't even know. Okay. Oh, the attorney in the room. Thank you.
Commissioner, yes.
Yes? All right. Your name, sir? Josh Chavez. Ma'am, will you come right back up in 2 more minutes? Sorry, Mr. Brown. Seriously? Come on. Let's get through this. Go right ahead, ma'am.
No children at risk, no property at value, no environmental or health risk. It's really easy to sacrifice someone else's home and well-being when you have nothing to lose. MEC had sent their representative and made a wonderful attempt to convince us that there is a benefit to us. Their justification for using our water table with no tangible accountability to the outsourcing of this energy. The usage formulary in layman's terms, a lot of water for a little electricity. The project website itself shows how power will be distributed to other major metropolitan areas, and the peakers will be turned on a per diem status. No plan or discussion about the auditing of the authenticity of their performance or future power disbursement was given. Also, no decommissioning plan was offered. Should there be violations of contingencies, MEC's failure to purchase enough energy blocks does not justify a plant in a residential area. MEC clearly didn't invest in their own infrastructure, aka the power poles. Those failed on us. And at the meeting, per their rep, MEC had alleged that there is no county land by the dump available. And after visiting our Board of Supervisors office and looking at the map, there are multiple parcels actively available from the state and BLM for sale, which MEC can and should look into. They just don't want to. And as far as patronage capital, in 7 years, I've received $11. As an academic, a mother, a citizen, and a fellow commissioner on the Public Lands Commission, I strongly urge you to protect the residents and advise MEC to build this plant in an approved industrial or manufacturing district. Keep this away from our residents and our families.
Ivan Brown, thank you. Carol Small, I know you're ready. Rich Templeman will be next after Carol.
Try this one more time. Commission, Chairman, thank you for your service and for this opportunity. Our community is growing, whether we like it or not. I know that some people moved into this county because it was a low-density population, but it's growing. We take electricity for granted. And if, God forbid, if we should ever go dark, no electricity, we're going to be hurting very badly. Investment in a electric generating station is has become an iffy proposition these days for the for-profit institutions. Are getting iffy. People don't want to invest because they don't know what's going to happen to their investment. Mojave Electric Cooperative has done a good job despite their poles breaking in a storm that they didn't produce. Nobody likes to live next to, let's say, an Air Force base or something, and yet people continue to move in next to Air Force bases. Places where it's noisy or noxious for some other reason. A yay vote here today is not final, but it's progress toward pressing the issue. We need new electric generate capacity, and we don't want to be that community that gets behind and then fails to catch up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Carol Small, then Rich Templeman and Larry Hammond.
Hi, my name is Carol Small, 812400 Harquahala, and I'm dead against it because I need electric is good, we need it. But why is it that so many people have said no, they don't want it, and they moved on to somewhere else? Now they're up here in Mojave Valley, and we're stuck with it, is basically what they're telling us. I only have a 880-foot well. They start doing a big lot of water out of their big wells. I'm not going to have any water. There's a lot of people right where I'm at. I'm within the straight on King Street. What about the traffic? That road was not made for that kind of traffic. As far as growth, I know a lot of people got here and wanted to be where they can see the stars, be in the valley. We're in a salad bowl. Eventually, I don't care if it's just a little bit of smog, it's going to build up because there's no place for it to go. So I'm against it, and I think there's other places they could do it. They have to buy some land further out where there's nothing going on. And they don't give us any much money. I think like the one lady said, she's only got $11 in the last 10 years. So they aren't giving us any money back into our pocket. So thank you.
Did you attend a town hall by MEC?
I was at the Rio one that they went to, and the one at the church in Mojave Valley. And the only way I found about it was by accident, and nobody told me where it was. No one's given me information. Just, I heard, gee, someone heard something about it. So
I appreciate it. I also believe that the disbursements are based on, I think, how long you're a member and the amount of usage that you have. So I think they vary in between all kinds of different variables with that.
President.
Rich Templeman, followed by Larry Hammond and Barbara Pape.
Commissioner Hassett and Chairman Hassett and Commissioners. My name is Richard Templeman. I live at 5684 South Desert Lakes Drive in Fort Mojave. I am a director for Mojave Electric Cooperative. I specifically represent the 16,000 members, 15,000 members in District 1, and work for the benefit of all 37,000 members across our system. And I stand in complete support of this project, 100%, totally, unequivocally, and hope that you see yourself moving this forward to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you. Larry Hammond. Barbara Pape, if you could make your way to the front of the room in an effort to be expedient, I would appreciate it. Then after Barbara is going to be Gary Genovese.
Hello, everybody.
Oh.
My name is Larry Hammond. My address is 2725 East Oach Drive, Mojave Valley, Arizona Village. I did not attend the meeting, and yet I am Mojave. Isailahan Makapchidum. My right hand is Mojave. Ahavil Imanvinch. I come from the water. Ahanyech Jedum. I am the water. I oppose this situation happening only for the reason this man couldn't answer why the location is where it's going to be at. He didn't answer the question. He went around it. You know, he had no definite answer to why he wants to have in this area which we reside in. As a people, we've been here since time immemorial. We've never been relocated. We've been here since time immemorial. You know, so yes, people do come through. And yes, I am concerned for our community members in the vicinity. You know, for the future generations of our children, our grandchildren, and etc., they'll have to suffer with this if it's to be built there, and I oppose it. There's rezoning in Bullhead City, Golden Valley, Golden Shores, anywhere else, you know, and those people can understand what the situation is when they have to go through it. But as for now, we don't want it. And this man talked about Apache so much. Take it back to Apache then. Rezone it to Bullhead City or wherever else. You know, but that's going to be a situation we don't want it. And I am a tribal singer, and I'm one of the youngest tribal singers within our tribe, but I do what I have to do, you know, to represent our people and talk for our people as well. But I totally oppose this. Again, there's other areas to do this kind of land development for this kind of project, but not in our area for our community members and our tribal members as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Barbara Pape, followed by Gary Genovese, and Frank Flynn. Please make your way to the front of the room.
Barbara Pape, 3908 Jamboy Way, Bullhead City. Also, I have another property. Do you want that information too?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Also, I attended the El Rio meeting yesterday. Okay. I am a MEC stakeholder, and I like being in this position as a future owner of this project. I see visibly this great natural gas energy generating opportunities that it offers. Unfortunately, one thing I have to clearly know that is in the future are energy shortages. We do have energy shortages. We hear and see this issue daily across the nation. Energy shortage is a reality. We need to see that too. It's not going to go away. And then we need to plan our future energy shortages that is going to be upcoming to us. After attending and watching the presentation with all the projected and sounding, they used sounding. They gave us the sound of the motors and details. MEC had picked this parcel of 80 acres that, for this natural gas energy project, which is near a gas line. The reason why they focused on this was the gas line connection was very close. We save, and then at that point, we save money. MEC's mission, and I've seen this several times, keep the lights on and the bill our bills low.
Thank you very much.
And thank you.
Gary Genovese, Frank Flynn, Kevin Nestrick, please make your way to the front of the room.
Gary Genovese, 2708 Promontory Drive, Bullhead City. I wrote out a quick little statement here. As a resident of Bullhead City since 1981, I want to ensure a continuing supply of electricity for our community. Therefore, I urge you to approve a zoning change for the Mojave Energy Park. Now, that being said, let's get practical. Everyone's a hero when things go well. When things do not go well, such as an energy supply, the fingers begin to point. When your house soars to 100 degrees, the fingers will point. You say, I'll just go and get in my car and turn the AC on. But now it only has 1/8 of a tank. So you dash down to Smith's or Safeway or wherever the gas you get, and the sign says, sorry, no electricity, no gas. Somebody in the back room who relies on a machine, sorry, you're going to suffer. Now you can go to a Generac system for $20,000, and I'm sure there are contractors that would love to apply that to your property, but that's not very practical. Ladies and gentlemen, don't start finger pointing when things don't go well. We need this plant, so I ask you to approve the Mojave Energy Park as it stands. Thank you.
Thank you. Frank Flynn, Kevin Nestrick, Chris Shoppers, please make your way to the front. So Frank Flynn.
Thank you. I finally realized what the definition of oasis is when I...
I'm
Press
sorry,
the
I don't
top
mean to
of
cut you off. I apologize. Name
Mountains.
and address for the record.
out of California coming down at the valley was the nice Blue River and green grass and a mountain. So that's why these power plants come under the heading of eye pollution. Who wants to look at 5 power plants as you come over the mountain on a nice, what was one time we would call it the Palm Springs of Arizona? Natural gas puts off to the atmosphere 24% of the pollution is from natural gas. United Kingdom, 84% of their power is natural. Canada, 76%. And I was wondering why so many people from the experts of MEC couldn't send some of their people up to find out why are they so successful with drawing energy from nature instead of coming up with all this crap that goes on. Because now we're going to have water pollution that comes from the wastewater that comes out of those 5 generators. They're saying there's only 1 or 2 they were talking today, but there's 5 of them going to go in. So you can imagine the waste pond from the cooling towers. There's water there that they can't use back over again, so it goes out in the pond. So now we got the geese coming. Every year the geese come, and every year the geese go back again. But they land in those ponds, and those ponds are all polluted. Not only do the ponds draw the geese, but you have mosquitoes and a lot of other things involved in it. There's so much more. This whole thing is a catastrophe. And not only do I like its position, I don't like it. I don't like natural gas to begin with. There's so many other ways they started off right. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you attend a town hall? Okay. All right.
I can't hear because the Yankees had hearing aids, but I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thank you very much. I appreciate it. Kevin Nestrick, Chris Shoppers, Tyler Carlson. Please make your way to the front.
Good morning, maybe almost afternoon. My name's Kevin Nestrick. I live at 2680 Country Club Drive, Bullhead City. I've been a member of Mojave Electric since January 1978. I am also a board member for District 2, which is, I represent 13,000 plus members. and members are the ones that depend on us as a board to review all this information and to fiduciary responsibility to them to provide them economically and efficient power sources, and this is one of them. We can go on and on forever with why we were here. Mr. Hubbard asked, why did we pick here? Because our 50,000 members need electricity. That's why we're here. We're here to provide the electricity from Mojave Valley. Thank you for your time. I hope you will support our zoning change, please.
Thank you. Chris Shoppers, again by Tyler Carlson and Andrew Catch. Apologize for pronunciation.
Hi, Chris Scoppers. I live at 7443 Harquahala Drive in Mojave Valley. I don't know if I go from my.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So what I'm trying to show, one of the commissioners had asked about pollutants. So actually, because they are able to skirt an environmental impact analysis report in doing these plants because of the size they've chosen, I actually thought it was important to share with you a report that just came out on May 21st of 24, so just a few weeks ago, from the Governmental Accountability Office. So they're doing this because there have been many of these peaker power plants that have come up across the United States, and they also fall under the necessary requirements for the environmental impact studies. They don't have to have them. So this actually shows, and I apologize, it's not that legible in that version, the pollutants. The bottom line of their study was that these peaker plants actually emit more pollution than the regular gas power plants. We'll save this for you guys so that you can read this report yourself. So I really hope that you do. It's also showing what the health risks are. So we're putting this power plant, or proposing to put this power plant within 2 miles of our high school, our junior high school, and many homes. These are the health risks. The number one category, respiratory issues. When are the peaker plants running? When it's the hottest part of the day.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Oh, where'd you get that idea from? Your name, sir? All right. 2 more minutes. All right.
Thank you. So the fact is it's irresponsible to be putting and suscepting our children to these kind of pollutants. When are they going to be out at school? In the afternoons. After school, what are they doing? They're out at cross-country practice, football practice. They're outside exercising, taking in deep breaths of these kind of pollutants. That's one of the many reasons that I understand that we need more power in our area. However, this is not an appropriate location. EPCO has stated, and MEC, in their brochure for the Mojave Energy Park, that the power generated will go to service EPCO's service territory. Well, as you see, here's how much Bullhead City is of EPCO's service territory, right there, okay? So we are not even nearly the bulk of their EPCO's service territory. They're retiring plants, according to Mr. Ledger, in other areas. So put the plant in those areas where you're providing the bulk of the service. Or put it out by the landfill, away from the homes, away from the children. I'm not the only one that feels this way. We actually have gathered 1,276 petitions, which I have right here, of people also opposing this location for this power plant. They have tried to state that it would help in an emergency situation. Many times they have talked about our 1 week power outage, and yes, it was miserable. But you know what? Having those gas peaker plants would not have helped. It wasn't a power shortage issue. It was a power transmission issue. That was the issue. I've lived here for 22 years. I've had family that's lived here since 1986. We can't remember one time that our area has been without power because of a power shortage. It's always been transmission issues. So maybe we should be investing more money in better transmission.
Thank you. Minutes.
Keep your name. You said Jana.
Radney. Thank you.
So I think that there have been proposed multiple different options for sources of power. There've been proposed the landfill. I understand that the landfill might cost them more money to produce. Well, you know what, this power plant, sure, will it save us on some energy costs? In one aspect, yes. But these power plants, the money doesn't fall from heaven, right? So they're $85 million to cost to build these. Now, who's going to pay that bill? We are. So you have to really evaluate the larger picture economically. And the water usage is a huge issue. I've been a realtor here for 19 years. I was made aware a year and a half ago by Carrie at the Mojave Valley Irrigation District that we're out of water allocations for Fort Mojave and Mojave Valley. I'm sure you are aware of this as well. So that's a huge concern. That land that they want to buy with a water rights, maybe they get, it's on fallowed land. The people that live right across from that are on wells. So right now, nobody's been drawing water from that fallowed acreage. So it is going to have a huge impact on their wells. There's many wells in Fort Mojave and Mojave Valley that have had to be re-drilled within the last recent years because of our water table dropping. So how are you going to provide water for them? You see, there's always a balance to everything. And I think there's much better locations. It doesn't need to be in anybody's backyard. We need you to take that into consideration and think about your own selves and your own families. Would you want this in your backyard, given this information and given that there all are alternative locations where this could be placed? There's much more appropriate places. So please stick to our area plan. I thank you for your time.
Anyone else want to yield time? Thank you. Tyler Carlson, followed by Andrew Catch, I assume, and then Joe Anderson. Please make your way to the front.
All right, Tyler Carlson. I live at 3575 McCormick Boulevard, Bullhead City, Arizona. I want to address just a couple of pieces. One of the reasons why we're in this particular location, it was asked, is because we have to be close to water, natural gas, and our facilities, MEC facilities. And this load will serve MEC members and MEC members only. We did start contact with the tribe in early April by way of a letter, as well as emails, as well as phone calls, and did not receive anything back. We did get a letter or an email on Monday, 6/10. And yesterday we did respond to that email. So the email that was given was sent to us yesterday, or sent to us Monday. We responded on 6/10. I do as a member as well. I'm the CEO of Mojave Electric Cooperative, but as a member also, our primary responsibility is make sure, from the standpoint of reliable and affordable energy, and that's what we do. And we do give back money, which is the patronage capital every year. Yes, it may not be a lot for everyone, but if you are in an investor-owned utility, you don't get any money back, a for-profit entity. So we do give money back at the end of the year when there is a surplus. The question about whether or not would these units come into play? We have built battery, solar, and this gas unit would also work together to provide, and it was well pointed out, a transmission issue, and that's what we're trying to figure out. That's what we're trying to prevent. And we had a transmission issue, and we rebuilt that whole system. So if you had that thing today with a transmission issue and that gas unit was there, it would have helped, and it would still help. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support.
I'm sorry, one question. You said you're the CEO of MEC. Who is the owner-operator of Calpine South Point Energy that's 2,500 or 25,000 feet away from your project location?
The owner is Calpine itself. It's on tribal property. It is a unit that sells to whomever, and I know that they have contracts with APS as well as they have contract with into California. So it's sold to any parts of Arizona. It's a merchant plant.
I'm going to follow up with you on that one. I do have questions on that. Thank you.
Well, never mind.
You have another question?
I'm sure Tyler doesn't know this, but the distance between that and the residents across the street,
I can
the
tell you right
proximity
now.
of residents directly across the street from that plant. Have you guys done any study on how close that current plant that's already there is to the residencies directly across the street?
Are you asking me the distance?
Yeah, have you done that study? I'm sure you haven't. 'cause
4,900 feet from the clear.
No.
He's referring to Calpine, which is 1,400 feet away.
Yeah,
you got it.
I can tell you that it's with the closest resident. I think it's in one of our documents, and I could answer that question. I think it's within 600 feet, 700 feet is the closest resident.
I looked on Google Earth as we were just poking around studying all this, and I saw 400 feet to the closest resident.
That sounds reasonable. I really don't have it right with me, but I can tell you. Yeah, I get it's 1,200 feet is what it looks like.
And what kind of plant is that one? Do you know?
That's a combined cycle plant, and so it's a natural gas combined cycle plant. It's a fairly large plant. The plant we're proposing is about 60%, 67% smaller than that particular plant.
I know that's not your property. I'm just curious.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I don't know about other people's stuff.
Yep.
I will. I promise.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Their generating capacity is 708 megawatts.
And you guys are shooting.
In comparison to 98.
And you're keeping it local.
Yep. And
So
it's
it's
1,200 feet is the answer to your question.
Thank you, sir.
You don't have to come down if you just want to say it from there.
Good morning again. So to answer the question, the Calpine plant is similar to what Mojave Electric is trying to do in Mojave County. Calpine is a business of and of its own. They were interested in partnering with the tribe in a manufacturing area at the time of build 23 years ago. And so in that process, in our general plan, and because we partner with the federal government, that plant had to follow a full NEPA process, which is not what's being asked here today. What's being asked here today is a general land use amendment at a county level that does not have a regulatory requirement. Because of the size of the plant that we lease land to so that the business can do, for instance, like MEC is trying to do, they purchase private property. In the Calpine situation, they lease land from the tribal government so that they can produce. In that situation, it is solely because that area is determined for high level manufacturing. And so that is why when we had the questions about, engaging with MEC, we're concerned about the suburban residential piece because there are other areas within the county that are manufacturing appropriate. Also with Calpine, these plants do require water. In your general plan, it would require a major amendment if Calpine were to so it's like comparing apples to oranges, because if Calpine were to do a similar action asking for amendment in this area, if we were to buy private property in this area, then it would require that capacity to be a major amendment to the general land use plan, not a minor amendment, which is being requested here today. The major amendment in the general plan does require additional safety mechanisms so that the public can engage in a public way so that we can communicate our concerns and express that. And so all of those vetting processes happened in regards to the general plan, our tribal general land use plan, which coordinates directly with the Mojave County general plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Andrew Catch, Joe Anderson, Fiona Corms. Andrew? No? Okay. Joe Anderson, followed by Fiona, and then Ted Martin.
Good afternoon, Commissioner and Chairperson.
Okay, you can go next.
My name is Joe Anderson. I am a director on the board of directors for Mojave Electric. I was elected to represent the District 3, approximately 15,000 members. But when we make decisions in the boardroom, we consider all approximately 44,000 members. When I took an oath for the office after I was elected, I swore to do what's best for the membership as whole. This plant is needed, and it's needed today. For the record, I live at 1379 Terrace Drive in Bullhead City, and I did attend one of the meetings. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrew?
My name is Andrew Cooch. I live at 10507 South Fremont Road, Mojave Valley. One thing that is being talked about is the air quality, the water quality, and the disbursement of water from the facultative ponds or the evaporation ponds, which is not being addressed, is within their own paperwork, a direct injection into the ground of the brine that would be created. I'm downstream as far as the aquifer goes, and with a hexavalent chromium 6 situation in California and even here in Topak, I see this as a very dangerous move. We do need the power generation, yes, absolutely, but we can achieve that by newer solutions like hydrogen. These machines can actually be converted very easily to a hydrogen fuel instead of the natural gas. Yes, they'll still use water, and the emissions would be the same water. I'm saying, and on top of that, rezoning this, there would be more implications of larger manufacturing companies coming in and taking up more and more of the surrounding area, if you approve this. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Fiona? Followed by Ted Martin and Diana Francie. You could please make your way to the front.
Good afternoon. My name is Kiona Corms. I currently reside on the Fort Mojave Indian Reservation at 10424 Kumadi Street, Unit A, Mojave Valley, Arizona. I work for the Fort Mojave Indian Tribal Department of Emergency Response and EPA. I am the Environmental Operations Manager. I am also a tribal member. I come to you as a mother and as an aunt. I speak on the behalf of my family that already have respiratory asthmatic issues and require multiple times throughout their day to be on their breathing machines. Keep in mind, these are my children along with my younger niece. So for this, their health issues are at risk, and I strongly stand for a no rezone. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ted Martin,
Good
Diana,
morning.
and then Chris Morgan. Please make your way down.
Ed Martin, 1740 East Valley Parkway, Mojave Valley. I'm for the project. District 1 has a significant number of residents that are on the co-op. Most of District 2 is on the co-op, and a bunch of the population in District 3 are on the co-op. So this is to control our prices. It's not just to control my prices, but it's to control prices of people that are on fixed incomes, people that are living below poverty, veterans, all those people that deserve to have affordable electric, that don't have a lot of money to expend, that they should have access and have dependable power. Renewable power is not dependable power. So we need a source that's dependable, and this is it. The power is generated from Tucson, so it should be nice to have something closer to home that would be more reliable to the area if something went wrong. So with that, we talked about the tribe in South Point. She just mentioned the plant has been operating for 23 years. So all the concerns about pollution and water usage and all the things, the example has already been set. That plant's been operating almost night and day for the last 23 years. It also has an economic interest to the community. The fire district is going to see revenue from this. The school district, both the high school, the grade school, and the county, all of which can utilize the increase because economic development hasn't been very good on behalf of the county in that area. So again, this was a project that was asked to move by the supervisors. They complied. They looked for the best possible place that they could put this. And because of where the infrastructure is, the gas and the power access, they chose to move that to that location. So again, I'm in favor of it. I've been to most all the meetings, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. Diana, followed by Chris Morgan, Willie White, and Austin Radham. Please make your way to the front.
Hi, I'm Diana Francis. I live in Golden Shores. I bought my property in 1967. I've lived there for 44 years, and I am also a member of MBC. I'm against this completely, not against having power. It's just the power they're choosing. Why don't they go to the dump, and why don't they burn the trash? That sounds ridiculous, but if you'll look into the Republic of Singapore, they operate 100% clean. They have no resources whatsoever, and they burn all their trash for their power. They also use that refined sand that they create from the ash, and the air is filtered. They have no bad effects. Why don't you guys look into that? I did speak to Tyler about that. He said he supports the ideal, but the powers that be won't even look into it. Years ago, when we have the flooding in Golden Shores at that wash, I suggest that they look into this concrete that drinks water. Well, I was just a crazy old lady, and that's not possible. Actually, it is possible, and they should have done that because they've spent a lot more money cleaning up that mess. It's never really been fixed, but we'll see on the next big flood. But please look into the Republic of Singapore about their clean power, because they could go out to the dump. We're already getting the trash taken out there. Please just look into that. And Mr. Hassett, I really respect your idea of putting it off for 30 days. Please, please look into that. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Chris Morgan.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I did go to the meeting last night. However, Carol was the one that told me about that meeting. I had no prior knowledge of it. I've not been sent a letter, anything to do with that, no notification, but I was surveyed. They did a phone call a couple months back, and I took that survey.
All right, thank you. Chris Morgan, Willie White, Austin Radham. Please make your way to the front.
I've been told that 10 people want to give me their 2 minutes. Just kidding, sir. Chris Morgan. Well, you guys started a cool trend. I'd like to have extra time. My name's Chris Morgan. I'm the owner and founder of APO Energy Solutions Corporation, and I do power. On a small scale, nothing like what they're doing now. I'm an electrical contractor. Got a couple questions I know you can't ask, but answer. How much power does the United States use in a year? 4 terawatts. That's a 4 with 12 zeros behind it. This is not this is a very finite resource we have. If we don't fix this, we're going to be chasing our tails like a bunch of tailless dogs. This is not going to happen. I am very much so in support of this. I am the chairman for Bullhead Regional Food Bank. It's important that we keep our stuff cold so we can get it out to the 100,000 people that we service every year. And, you know, all I got to say is we threw out a lot of food last time. We need not to do that again. So please, for the people that I know up here, do the right thing.
Thank you.
Give my 50 seconds.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here and allowing us this opportunity to speak. My name is Willie White. I grew up at 1175 Camino Cove in Bullhead City. I've been a resident here on the western Arizona state all my life. It's an honor to be here today, and I want to thank MEC for the efforts you guys have made to provide power. However, I do see shortfalls in this current proposal. The fact that the county is considering amending your planning, your plan, your general plan, is a big deal. You have people that buy property businesses that invest, farmers that do things, and they do it based on what your general plan is. So when you start to manipulate that general plan to appease a developer, or in this case, a utility, you start to create, problems with the integrity of that plan. So I would caution you on doing that going forward. Additionally, the people that live in the area, they have to be heard, and you have to give them an opportunity to be heard and to express what they have. I noticed just yesterday that the Unisource Energy, which is another energy company here in Mojave County, was just exempted from an environmental review. Are you guys aware of that? Yes? No? Okay, well, that happened yesterday. They were exempted from this environmental review based on the fact that they didn't meet the 200 megawatt or 100 megawatt criteria. The way that they did that is they strategically crafted their generating stations with 4 separate 50 megawatt power generators. So they didn't technically qualify for the environmental review. I would encourage you, looking at this, it says 49 megawatts is the intended use or intended power generation, but there's 2 of them, right? So they're going to be right there at that threshold. Why don't you take the initiative and have them do the environmental review or environmental quality for this plant?
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
I had 30 seconds from him. Was that a joke?
Go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't joking.
Well, I can't do for one and not for you, so fire away.
Good, okay. So just back to the general plan. Stick to the integrity of your general plan, because that is what you guys have to base all of your development plans going forward on. Once you start to compromise that, you're compromising everything.
Thank you. Austin Gradam, Maria Schachter, I apologize, and Donnie Portal. Please make your way to the front.
Good afternoon. Austin Grayton, 3070 North Stetson Road, Kingman, Arizona, 86401. I'm a member of the Mojave Electric Co-op simply because I buy their power. And I'm not in Mojave Valley or that area at all. I'm 20 miles east of Kingman, out near the end of the line. So that's my association. I've been to several meetings with Mojave Electric in the past. I've gotten information from their management, and I believe that the management of Mojave Electric and MEC will consider all of these things when it gets to that point where they need to consider all these things. And this is a big step, but of course, they don't own the property. They can't develop anything until they own the property, and they don't want to buy it until it gets rezoned, of course. Otherwise, they can't use it. There is a need for a rural electric out here. Like I say, I'm near the end of the line, and we have concerns about times of high usage or interruption or cost factors. And I think their management considers all those things when they're providing power to us based on the information that I've been given and seen in the past. So I request your support of this zoning change so they can move on with the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Marina, Donnie, and then it's going to be Beatrice Jacobo. Please make your way to the front.
Hi, my name is Marina Schachter, and I live at 8728 South Cedar Street in Mojave Valley, very close. This is my backyard we're talking about. I went to the meeting last night. I had no idea what was going on. Well, there was no air conditioning and hardly any people there. I have a letter from the pastor, Roy, which I would like to read to you, and then I can comment if there's time. Planning and Zoning Commission. I would like to express my concern and opposition to APCO's application for a rezone of a portion of parcel 225-09-5052 in Mojave Valley from A-R agricultural residential to MX, heavy manufacturing. This would seem to be a simple up and down vote, as Mojave Valley is almost 100% agricultural land. It is rural, it is peaceful, and it's my home. I moved here almost 24 years ago because of the rural, quiet, peaceful area. I never intended to have to deal with this kind of inappropriate behavior from our power company. Sure, there is a need for more power, but it needs to be generated in the right place and not in our valley, where it is totally wrong. MEC has been deceptive, underhanded, and downright sneaky about how they have tried to promote this peaker plant in Fort Mojave, and now in Mojave Valley. If this plan is approved, you will destroy everything we hold dear in Mojave Valley. This is absolutely wrong. This is the wrong direction for our home. It makes no sense whatsoever. I am asking to you, as the Planning and Zoning Commission in Mojave County, to deny this application to plan in place.
Thank you very much. Donnie? And then Beatrice Jacobo, followed by Harold Ellingson. I'm sorry.
My name's Donnie Cordell. I live at 12683 Golden Shores. I'm in support of this project, and I'm very sure that Mojave Electric will do everything in its power to minimize any environmental impact. I hope it gets to go through. It'll help us a whole bunch. Thank you.
Thank you. Beatrice Jacobo? No. Oh. Harold Ellings? Are you here? Okay. And then followed by Diane Eads.
Good morning. My name is Beatrice Jacobo. I'm a Fort Mojave tribal member, and I did attend some of the meetings. I did attend the one last night that they did have. One thing is, I am opposed. I don't want it in the neighborhood, even though they did mention about Calpine. You know, what they didn't do is that they didn't tell us as a tribal nation. We had our land is right there, so we're within the area where they could have told us, but they didn't. And they did tell us that in August 2025, I think they still have an opportunity to be up in Bullhead City. And if you hear everybody here, MEC, we're not co-ops with MEC. We do have our own. So I always think like this. They're far enough away from us, but close enough to cause us trouble. So if it's MEC that's up in Bullhead, Kingman, the gentleman just came down and said he was in Kingman, then why can't we put it closer to them? If MEC is worried about all their electricity, and it's their power poles, like somebody had said earlier, if they would have invested in their power poles, then they wouldn't have had an outage. They did say last night that they've never had outages, so I don't know. I'm kind of confused because some of them are saying they have outages, then they don't have. So which is it? Is it your power poles, your transmissions, or I'm not really sure what they're talking about. But I just think that they should move it in a different area. They did, however, say that the supervisors had told them to look in our areas just because they think we're country bumpkins or something down there. You know, and that we won't fight back, but we will. We will, and we have been. But we only have 20 seconds. But I'm just saying move it back to where they had it. They were approved in a different area, so why can't they just stay there? And if it's cost efficient, that's why they're moving here, then spend a little bit more money and connect to the power lines or the gas lines up there in Bullhead City, because that's who's going to benefit, not us.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Perfect.
Harold?
My name is Harold Ellingson. I live at 9893 South Prescott Drive, Mojave Valley. I have attended meetings. The idea that we can go on growing like Mojave County is growing and have future growth without supporting a power grid infrastructure generating plant is absolutely silly. I think that the county's growth and the future growth dictates to us that we're going to have this. I'd also like to address Mojave Indian tribe on their environmental complaints that they have. I happen to live behind an alfalfa field that they spray with pesticides and herbicides, and I think they do this without any county approval because it's their property. They spray that alfalfa with the pesticides and herbicides, and then they flood those fields with water, which is one of their concerns also. Now that groundwater is contaminated, and they then use it to supply water to my house. I've got several filters in line that grow green slime because of it. So I find that their objection to environmental impact is absolutely ludicrous. Again, thank you for your time. Support the growth.
Are you a customer of the tribal utilities?
Yeah.
On the water side?
Yes.
Have you ever requested a workup, I guess, on their
yeah,
water?
we have. And
Was
it
it provided?
come back that the water's fine.
Okay.
According to them.
Right.
But
Okay.
I would welcome anybody to come look at my multiple filters to see if it's fine.
Thank you. Diane, followed by Tammy Broderick and Irene Evanston. Are all those people here? Diane? Okay. Tammy? Going once. Oh, all right. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm Diane Eads. I live 2060 East Agala, I can never pronounce it, Street or Drive, and I'm in Mojave Valley. I've lived here 5 years.
Matthew, can you adjust that?
I don't think, is that better? Okay, I don't think this is a good idea. I think that you have too much pollution and when we did go to that meeting last night, there wasn't air conditioning. I was pretty mad. I'm in my 60s, and that's not good for my health. I'm sorry, I've never gotten a check from the company that says, oh, we do all these benefits and we do all this stuff. I don't believe in them. So what makes you think that what they're telling us the truth? I have my doubt, and I've already signed the petition to not have this done because I don't believe them. I don't think what they're saying to us is the truth. I think they're hiding it, and I think it's all about money, and money is everything, right? Well, it isn't. I just think they need to stop. Y'all need to start. We all need to start looking at this planet and thinking what we're doing to it. I have had outages, so I don't know what all that stuff's about. Outages. I've had, in the 5 years I've lived here, I've had more than in California, and never had problems with my electric there. Also had in one day 8 times my neighbor had 8 times called them. They don't do anything. They send somebody out. He stares at the thing, and that's all. That's what your employee is doing. That's what my taxes are paying for. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. So that's it.
For the record, your taxes aren't funding Mojave Electric. Tammy Broderick, Irene Evanston, and John Bosch. All are present. Please make your way to the front.
Hi, Tammy Broderick. I live at 10091 South View Lane, Mojave Valley. In fact, I live probably about a 1/10 of a mile from the power plant right there on Courtright. That is the one that was discussed. I drive by it every day. There aren't any geese in that water retention pond. Never seen one at all. The geese go to Goose Lake, which is on the other side of BLM land. A lot of the things that have been brought up don't really make any sense. We need the power. Our area is growing too fast for Mojave Electric to keep up without bringing new sources of energy in. So please vote in favor.
Thank you. Irene, followed by John Bosch and Robert Jacobo.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Irene Evanston, 2340 Spirit Mountain Drive, Mojave Valley, Arizona. I am with the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe as a director for Department of Emergency Response and EPA. I bring concerns to the Commissioners opposing the plant project. First thing is, obviously has been spoken, does not follow and align with the current Mojave land use plan. If any amendments to the land use plan should take effect, maybe it is relooking at the filing process to include such projects, which should include an assessment regardless of what the EPA's requirements are, a full emergency response plan, and information with both sides, whether it's the applicant or adjacent landowners. The other thing Mojave County should also recognize and look at in this current situation are there are lands within the county's jurisdiction that includes private owners, city, state, and county owners, Bureau of Land Management, and tribal lands. The emergency response plans for this project has not been required of the applicant at this point. However, those concerns are concerning to the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe and the lands that will fall adjacent to that. Without knowing and seeing a full environmental assessment for the tribe, for Mojave Electric and EPCO, it is currently not in the best interest of any party at this time to move forward with the amendment to the land use plan at this point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. John, John, you here? Oh, going once. Robert Jacobo, and then Michael Bartelt or Barlett. Michael, you here? Okay.
All right. Can you all hear me?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So just a really quick request. If I do go over time, if anybody has any time they want to yield to me, I'm more than happy to take it.
Let's get this out of the way now, and we'll just set the timer.
Well, good days, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Robert Jacobo. I'm actually a resident, 34-year resident of Mojave County. I was born right there in Needles, California, grew up here. John, you and I, we went to high school together, right? And so, I've gotten to see this county grow, and I'm not going to sit here and argue and say that we're not growing. But at the same time, we do need to take into consideration the detrimental effects that are going to be happening because of this power plant and possible rezoning. I would like to make the suggestion to go ahead and stop it here because of the fact that that sends a rippling effect to the rest of everybody else that says, you know what, we're not going to stand for things that are going to be detrimental to our community. But at the same time, we will keep battling it on and on and on. But just to go off of just basic precedents that's been set, Commissioner Bradshaw, I noticed that earlier on item number 2, we kind of denied it or postponed it just due to basic dust mitigation for that type of project because it was so close to healthcare centers and things of that sort. Well, we have what would be a health crisis here that needs to definitely be thoroughly explored and a proper environmental assessment. And I would urge that that environmental assessment be done before providing any approval to change this from a suburban residential to an urban residential manufacturing zone for heavy manufacturing. And then on top of that too, let's take a look at what it would possibly bring, right? They say that they need efficient power. Well, the power outage in September 22 wasn't brought on by a power shortage. It was brought on by the lack of infrastructure, right? And so that what they needed to do, because according to their own reports in 2023, 141 of those poles went down. Only 3 of them were steel and 1 of them was concrete. So I would say an infrastructure management plan, definitely.
Is that what's your name? Dolores Castillo? Go ahead.
Thank you, Dolores. And so infrastructure management plan, I understand that they have a $6.1 million line hardening project that's going on right now. I would say, let's complete that project. Let's see how those transmission lines actually, face any detrimental winds or anything like that are going to come their way before putting in a power plant and claiming that a power plant is going to be the solution to our problems. Tyler Carlson, their CEO, came up here and stated that if they would have had the transmission lines and they would have had the power plant back in September 22, that would have solved all their problems. But if they would have just had the transmission lines and the poles up to standard, we wouldn't have had to gone through that problem, and we would have had proper transmission more than likely, considering that only a very small percentage of their poles that went down were made out of concrete and made out of steel. And so on top of that too, economic development. They're saying that they're going to come in with economic development, create jobs. Well, you had one of the representatives come up here earlier and let you know that full-time positions are only roughly going to be about 4 or 5. It takes more than 4 or 5 people to change the dynamics of an entire valley, especially when it comes to economic development. And so I would highly encourage you guys to not seek the approval for this land rezoning because it's not going to be economically viable for our area to grow. And also, too, the contractors that they would be using, although some local contractors, majority of the contractors that they may be using to build these plants are going to be out of the area. And sure, we might see a small economic tick, but their construction timeline is only roughly about a year to a year and a half. So how much economic development can really come into that area within that small time span, before you only have 4 to 5 workers that are going to be contributing. So for those reasons, I'd like to say, no to the rezone and no to the power plant. So thank you.
Thank you. Michael? Oh.
Hello, my name's Michael Bartelt. I live in Bullhead City, 2840 Camino del Rio. I have been a very happy 16-year director, a board of directors with Mojave Electric. I've watched a few CEOs too, and many board members scramble to get enough power to keep our lights lit. The main thing this board has tried to do and continues to do is keep our power reliable and affordable. But a couple of things have been said today I'd like to talk about real quickly. One is the pond. There will be no pond. There will be no pond at a gas turbine. That's important. And the second point, and then I'm going to leave because I don't want to repeat what everyone else has said. The County Board of Supervisors asked Mojave Electric to research a second location, which they have done and followed their instructions. So I'm urging you to please vote yes and let the county make the decision once more. Thank you.
Thank you. Melinda Cruz, Brenda Seymour, and Luz Tubles. You're all present? And can you make... All right, sounds good. Thank you. Melinda? Oh, got it.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Melinda Cruz. I'm the director of the housing community for the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe. I'm also a tribal member of the Fort Mojave Indian Tribe. I handle all housing operations in the Arizona Village, and I oversee approximately 74 units, also meaning 74 families. In our business, just to rehab a home or to dig any dirt, we have to go through a process that required the different levels of environmental review determination, such as exemption, categorically exempt, not subject to NEPA, categorically exempt, subject to NEPA, environmental assessments, environmental impact statements. This is to reduce, avoid, or eliminate adverse environmental impacts. These measures and conditions are set to protect the people, the future generations, the river, the noise level, the wildlife, and overall, the environment. Therefore, I definitely oppose 100% the rezoning of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda?
Hello, my name is Brenda Seymour. I live at 1128 Citrus Street, Bullhead City, Arizona. I am in support, very much in support of the gas plant. And the reason why is because over time, it reduces costs. It makes it affordable and emergency backup for cooling centers and hospitals. But the main thing that I want to ask, or the main thing that I see here, is the problem of delays. Every time there's a delay, it costs the consumer $7.5 million over the summertime with peak hours. I want you all to know I'm a 65-year-old senior citizen, and I live on nothing but my Social Security. When my electric bill goes up in the summertime because of delays, because we don't have the backup that we need, who's going to pay the rest of my bill that I can't afford to pay? Can I ask somebody up here to pay my bill? Or maybe one of the people that are opposing this? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Luz?
Good afternoon. My name is Luz Two Bulls. I live at 516 8th Street, Needles, California. I do have a lot in Mojave Valley area. I'm a lifelong resident of Mojave Valley. I'm also a Fort Mojave tribal member of the Fort Mojave Indian tribe. I work for the Fort Mojave Department of Emergency Response, the EPA department, and I am opposing this Mojave Electric Park. I just feel that it is not in the best interest of the community, and I feel that in the long run, 30 years is a long time, and the property that MEC is proposing to purchase regarding the water on the property, it's going to infringe on the community, their wells, and our river. I mean, earlier today, before we came to this meeting, our tribal administrator said, water is our life, and that's true. And I believe that MEC is going to infringe on that. And it's going to affect all our generations, 3 generations from here on to the future. And I don't think I oppose it. Thank you.
Thank you. Down to the final 3. Joseph Stillman, Eric Patterson, and John Martell.
Hello, my name is Joseph Stillman. Whew, had some Red Bulls earlier. I live in 2194 East Hutch Street, Fort Mojave. The first thing I want to talk about is the 501 Charlie. When I was listening to the funding, how Mr. Hubbard was talking about how it works and how it fluctuates with the revenues. With the water rights being entitled to that 501 Charlie is what you guys need to be careful of, because if they do get approved and they do have the water rights, it's more of a different game that they're going to play. The gentleman might say that it's not going to be a pond, but once they get the water rights, they're more justified to do whatever they want to do with it, as far as a 501 Charlie. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous.
You're good.
But if it is approved, I would want you guys to look into implementing a water kind of like take away, make sure that they use the water what they're using it for, and actually hold them to a standard to where, you know what, they're not going to mess around with the water. They're going to use it the way they're going to use it, and then that's it. I want that to be written into law. And what's really important is the water. That's it. The water is really, really important right now. And that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Eric?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Everybody? Good afternoon. My name's Eric Peterson. My wife and I live on 8050 Harquahala, 2 properties south of King Street. First thing I want to bring up is this gentleman's presentation when we first started is based on deception. I live about a half mile from the intersection of King and Vanderslice. On the northwest corner of that is where the natural gas and the power lines and the water all converge. On the map that they showed with the triangles stating that the power plant would be 4,900 feet away, that is in the far northeast corner of that property. That's up against the foothills. That's not where they're going to put that. That's not where all the natural gas and all that converge. The power lines are right on Vanderslice. That is a half mile from our house, and that's being generous. Their property might be 4,900 feet, but that plant isn't going 4,900 feet. Another thing, too, is the gentleman stated that water usage would be for emissions. Well, that's a half-truth. Be used for cooling as well. Another thing he said was, we plan, and this is, I quote, we plan on putting in 2 generators at this time, meaning there's more to come. They have the property to do it, and the water usage is going to increase. We rely on wells for our life to sustain our families, not to cool down a giant chunk of steel, okay? As far as the environment's concerned, where's all this other water that's been filtered? Where's that going? I don't know. And for those of you who are even concerned about wild game or hunting or stuff like that, I'm an avid hunter. Yeah.
Thank you very much. John Martell.
John Martell from Mojave Electric, Bullhead City, Arizona. A couple things I wanted to correct here real quick. Mike Bartell up here a little earlier said there'll be no ponds, but his meaning says there'll be no ash ponds like a coal ash pond. There will be evaporative impoundment ponds that are at the blowdown. But also he was trying to say there's not going to be any water injection. So at some point we looked at injecting the water back into aquifer. That has been scrapped. They're going to be evaporative ponds only. Another thing, the line siting is not the same as the NEPA environmental process. So when they talked about what Unisource just got a court ruling on, that is to basically not have to go to the ACC line siting committee based on the interpretation of the rules. Basically the rule says you have to have a nameplate of 100 megawatts or more. These units are clearly less than 100 megawatts. Doesn't avoid you from the NEPA environmental process when you go for federal funding or any of that stuff. And then the third thing is this map I want to bring up and show to you guys. This is where we're going to build the power plant. If you look at the Vanderslice Road there, he is correct. That's where the power line is. But the power plant will not be under the power line. We'll run a power line over to it. So the plant is proposed to be built in this 80 acres, just like it shows on this map. Also about the dump area, we've had this question come up many, many times. We talked to the state. The state says that there's leases in place, land leases by wind developers and solar developers for hundreds of thousands, like 30-some thousand acres in that area. We've been able to find no property that's sold by BLM or the state. If somebody knows of it, call my number, let me know where it's at. We'll look into it. We can't find it. And the county did tell us that they cannot use the dump. I can go on the record. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, well, I'm going to close the public hearing. And before we go to a vote, I do have a question. Our vice chair asked, she gave me her, well, she wanted to assign her proxy. Is that with her vote? Is that possible? While you're researching that, I want to make a statement. We've all heard a lot, the pros and cons of this, and I said in the very beginning that your emotions and concerns are valid, they are valuable. I really appreciate, I know there was some clapping, but there's been some meetings that have got out of hand, and I really appreciate you respecting my request to be professional and courteous to everyone. So thank you very much to all of you. As a reminder, all we do here, us commissioners, all we do is we evaluate what's put in front of us by staff, and then it's presented to the Board of Supervisors. If this does not go, and I mean this to each party, if this does not go in your favor, we are not the end-all be-all. Your next step is the Board of Supervisors. So please take that into consideration. As whatever outcome comes from this, we still have a meeting that we are in. So I asked you to please remain professional and courteous and let us do our job and let the staff do theirs as well. Now, proxy.
Chairman, it would be allowed.
Okay. All right. Well, your Commissioner Hubbard, you were assigned Vice Chair Gillette proxy, and her vote is to postpone until the July meeting. So, all right.
I'd like to open up for a little discussion.
Oh, okay. You'd like the public
That'd
hearing?
be okay. Sorry about that.
All right. I'll reopen the public hearing.
Not public hearing, just between
Look,
commissioners.
yeah, open it up to.
Oh, yes.
We're missing a commissioner, though.
Okay.
I'm concerned about a lot of things that both sides have said. And the lady talked about power lines being down, and that's why they need this plant put in. The power lines are down. The plant won't do any good. Zero. You gotta have lines for this. The only time this plant's going to be used is for a failure. Now, we haven't had a major failure ever here. If the plant goes down, then it would be okay to use it because the power lines are still up. But they're putting new poles out there right now. And
I'm going to interject on the failure. We have had failures.
the plant itself has failed.
We've had electrical outages.
Electrical outages, but the plant has not failed.
Oh, yeah.
And these start up when the plant fails. That's the way they're designed. We went through this before.
Hey, so just a simple thumbs up, because I don't want to get into a back and forth, but just hold on. Is this predicated, are peaker plants based on demand power, meaning instead of buying from California or someone like that, you're generating it yourself through your own resources and assets? Okay. So there.
That's just one of my concerns. The other one is they should, Board of Supervisors told them to find another location. They found this location. I think they can go find another one.
No, generally clapping is not a thing. So
sorry, that's the way I feel about it.
And your opinion is very valid. That's what we're here for.
Thank you.
Any other?
Yeah, I have some comments as well. So, this.
I asked nicely. Those gentlemen are still back there to show exits. Continue.
Thank you. So, I'm looking at this property. There actually are other gravel pits and MX zones in the area. So, I don't see that this is disingenuous to say that this area is not going to be for this type of a facility. One of the gentlemen talked about how I denied a recent item number 2 because it was adjacent to medical facilities. Well, this is not a medical facility. There's miles or thousands of feet between this and other areas. And I understand that pollutants and various things travel. I get that. This is as far away as we've ever seen one of these plants come into our purview. This is nearly a mile away from a resident, and there are other uses out here that are in very similar uses. We've got another power plant that's within 3 miles, not nearly as new technology, so this is a value add. We have 2 other industrial uses, 2 gravel plants that are in proximity of this. There's the fallow lands. They're not being used for irrigation. This is we'd have to get verification of this, but in the presentation, this uses less water than irrigating these fields. Now, I don't have that much information to say that's true or not, but I don't see that this is so far out of line that we're asked that it's an ask that we're putting it in someone's backyard. We're almost a mile away. I've had one of these in my backyard. It wasn't, it was probably 3 miles away, but it wasn't egregious. So I get everyone's concerns, and they are concerns. They're legitimate concerns. I have no qualms with all of the discussions. It seems to me like there are some values and there are some cons. And for the most part, I'm seeing a lot of value. And I get that there's some concerns. And we have to deal with those. And again, this is a zone change application. This does not deal with EPA regulations. This does not deal with how you process the site plan and all of the environmental impact studies that are required. So we don't even get to talk about those in this zone change discussion. I mean, they're interesting and they're valid and they have to be accomplished. Totally agree with that, but they're really kind of outside of our purview. Thank you.
No.
Commissioner
Sorry,
Ruge.
unfortunately, no, that public hearing's closed. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Ruge has a comment.
Commissioner Ruge?
Yes, I just, I appreciate all the concerns that have been raised, but I would agree very much with Commissioner Bradshaw. It seems to me like this is something that is similar to things that are in that area. It is quite a ways away from residences. And, I think, everybody's always got that argument that, not in my backyard, but at the same time, you want the lights to come on when you flip that switch. So for me, I see a lot of benefit to this. And I guess that's my input on it.
Thank you. Well, if there's no other comments, discussions, or questions, I'm going to call for a motion for item 5. You have, technically you have a motion on the table, right? You can use that. There's a motion on the table from Vice Chair Gillette to postpone until July.
I understand that both parties are upset if we do postpone or not just say no altogether, but I would second the postponement so that there's more communication and conversation taking place.
Okay, so we have a motion to postpone, a second, or first by Gillette, a second by Helms. All in favor to postpone? That motion dies. I don't know what her alternative was, so you have her proxy to make that, but that motion's dead, so give me another one.
I have her proxy.
No, Commissioner Hubbard does.
I would make a motion for approval.
Who's that? Ruge?
Yes,
Okay.
Commissioner Ruge, I would make a motion for approval.
Thank
I would
you.
second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Ruge to motion to approve, second by Patillo. Is that correct? All in favor?
Correct.
Aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
And that's for Gillette too, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
You were, I'm sorry, Commissioner Bradshaw, you were 4?
4.
Okay, well, that's a tie. So. Oh, that
I
doesn't...
object. I object to somebody's vote being counted who didn't attend the entire hearing.
What do you say? I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Patillo. I object to a vote being counted without that commissioner being present. I mean, I understand that.
I think it should be
somehow legal.
postponed.
Oh, so you would have voted for the postponement.
Correct.
I guess my point is we've asked them to come up with an alternative. They've come up with an alternative. I've heard lots of things about water and the NEPA process, and that isn't anything that's under our control. Power plants are okay as long as they're on Mojave tribal land, but they're not okay when they're needed for the population as a whole that would actually service Mojave County. I think we really should approve this.
Okay, well, then the ayes have it if
Well,
we're,
and I believe that you do get to vote in.
I am for postponing it until the following meeting.
That's not the motion on the table, so you do
Oh,
get to
yeah.
vote on the motion on the table.
So you want to remove Gillette's out, right?
And
That would
Chairman,
be my
Commissioners,
preference,
I'm not
yes.
sure if I was understanding what was going on here. So the proxy would count for the motion to continue. I don't think I'd feel comfortable with that vote. I mean, unless you knew for sure that's what she was going to vote on. But again, I don't know if she was here enough, so I don't think her vote would count for the second motion.
Good. All right.
I would agree with that.
That was Rugi. Is Morris on? He's out.
So if her vote's out, what are the votes now, and then what would your vote be?
So we've got 4, 4, and I'm sorry, you're a 4, correct?
I am.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm opposed. Sticking with the postponement.
So it's still a tie.
I am for them meeting with them, and I'm for a little bit more research on this.
So
I understand that they've met their requirement. I get
I
it.
think they should, we ought to have something down on the water rights. That hits me wrong too.
Well, before we
They buy the
before
piece
we,
of property.
It's not, that's,
4, 5, 6.
before we continue forward, so last time we had a tie, we just advanced it to the Board of Supervisors as a tie. And I think that was the criteria the last time we had a tie.
And that's correct. So for the bylaws, if there's a tie, you can entertain a second motion. If somebody has a second motion, but
Right.
if there is one, then it would go to the board as a tie.
do we motion
So-
again to
But
postpone?
we do have a tie. Is that correct? Okay.
So we can,
So there can be another motion to your point,
Or you can make the
Or
Board of
we-
Supervisors decide.
or we can move it along. That's on the table.
My opposition would be to move it to the Board of Supervisors for decision. How do you want that?
I mean, it already would be. So at this point, it's a tie, and it'll go to the board.
If
as
there's
a
no
second.
if there's no
All right.
new motion, if you don't call for a new motion, it goes to the Board of Supervisors.
Perfect. Sounds good to me. Item 13. I'm sorry. Item 14, Commissioner's comments. I believe Commissioner Bradshaw had some things.
I just had a quick question, and it's for the staff particularly. On these recensions of Board
We
of
still have a
Supervisors-
meeting to conclude, so please exit quietly.
So on these recensions of Board of Supervisors resolutions, is there a reason why is there a statutory reason we have to come back to a hearing process? And it seems arduous that if timeline elapses on some of these from these zone changes, that we come back and rehear it for a recension of that. It almost should be automatic, or maybe just to the Board of Supervisors. I'm just curious why it has to come back through a full public hearing process to be rescinded.
Chairman Hassett, Commissioner Bradshaw, that's a good question. I don't know. I can tell you that's the way we've done it since as long as I've been here. Has always been the practice has always been to send it back to the commission and then to the board. The condition on the resolutions are the reason that we do it, and it does state that the board, after notification by registered mail to the owner and applicant who requested the rezoning, shall schedule a public hearing to grant an extension, determine compliance with the schedule for development, or cause the property to revert back to its former zoning classification. So the condition we put in the resolutions mentions the board. I would have to go through and look at state statute to see if there's a requirement for it to go through both processes, because that's the process that I went to in the beginning. And it may be that we just erred on the side of caution. It's better to send it to 2 public meetings instead of just one, and have that become an issue later.
And I'm fine with either way. I'm just curious if that's if because it seems like we have to double duty this. We have to go through a public hearing to put the zone change forward, and then right in the stipulations it says if you don't comply, we can it'll be rescinded. So it just seems kind of
Right, and that's part of the reason we've kind of stopped putting those timelines on them, because it is an arduous process and hard to manage and keep track of. So we do a lot fewer of those than they did in the past, but that is something that we can definitely look into.
okay. Thank you. That was what I had question on.
Any other commissioners have comments for this meeting? Okay, hearing none, move on to 16, which is call to the public. Okay, and with no call to the public, will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
That would have been called to the public.
To adjourn.
Yes, you may. Reopen the call to the public. Very well.
I really appreciate all the listening you guys have done. It gets difficult, and some of them left. Some of them don't show up. They get a vote. Seems wrong to me, but
Well, no, with all due respect, that she attended and listened to this.
no, she did. I agree with that. But there are some that are just attending remotely. So
They listened as well.
I know. Okay, so what I'd just like to say is, please do your due diligence on Singapore and their 100% clean power plants, because they could go right out where the dump is. There is BLM land there. Just look at it, please, for everybody concerned.
I'm all for it. I don't work at an electric co-op or provide service. And I'll be honest, I don't agree with either party here. That's why I think more research should be done. But I appreciate it, but I can't put in a trash burning plant in my current job description.
I understand, but Tyler, who is with MEC, he looked into it. He's for it, but the powers that be are blocking him, and he even will agree to that. So I'm just asking, please, whoever has the ability. I ain't city-fied. I live in Golden Shores.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I have a comment on that.
Oh, there's one.
Commissioner Patillo?
Yeah, people are talking about the trash burning plants. For 20 years, I was the landfill manager for both county landfills. Both the operators worked for me. We looked into that on numerous occasions, and the issue is, while those are still, they look relatively large to layman, Mojave County does not generate enough garbage to have trash burning power plants. We don't generate enough landfill gas to use for anything either, even though both of those things are very big problems that they have to take care of. There's just not enough economies of scale to do any of that. At least there wasn't as of 3 years ago.
Very interesting. Thank you. Ma'am?
And just before we do, this is the call to the public.
I'm not
correct?
supposed to talk. I forgot. Sorry.
Not supposed to talk, and generally we wouldn't be allowed to talk about what's already been talked about.
Oh,
to
really?
be fair to, well, to be fair to who's already been here, right? So the public is left thinking this has already been discussed, and now if it's brought up again, it's kind of a
Perfect. That
disservice.
works for me. So if you have anything besides item 5, you're welcome to speak. Not associated with item 5 in any way.
Not associated.
Perfect.
It actually addresses your rezone application, okay, in general. So on your rezone application in general, you are requiring for the applicant to provide what is their source of water provided, what is their source of sewer provided, what is their source of electric provided. So I guess now I'm very confused about statements that have been made of what's appropriate for planning and zoning and what is actually appropriate to other entities, because you are actually asking on the rezone application for them to disclose about the water provided. So if that's not part of your decision on a rezone application, I don't know why you would ask it.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Call to the public? Okay, I'm going to officially close the call to the public and entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion adjourned. Or a meeting adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you.